आप म्यूट हैं।
Swagatam, Namaskar. We would like to welcome you all on AYUSH SAMRIDDHI, a journey of brainstorming, knowledge sharing, and inspiring for every Ayurvedic or Ayush physician. I would like to communicate my sincere thanks and gratitude to all the experts joined today for their valuable support, mentorship, guidance, and blessings. Today is National Education Day, and we are really a pioneer due to your blessings in celebrating every day to negate the negativity of COVID pandemic and the problems we are facing day to day. Maybe dengue, chikungunya, everything. So again, thank you. I would like to welcome Professor B.P. Sharma ji, ex-principal Guwahati Ayurvedic College, President Vishwa Ayurvedic Parishad Assam, and member NCISM. Welcome, sir, for his welcome address. Welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you. Namaskar. Good evening to everybody. Respected Professor V.K. Agnihotri, respected Dr. Pawan Kumar Sharma ji, distinguished guests, eminent speaker, ladies and gentlemen. I, Professor Dr. Vishnu Prasad Sharma, welcome all of you to this evening webinar on new teaching learning method assessment module. Most important subject. So in this webinar, we have eminent speaker, Dr. Mohan R. Joshi, Professor and Head, Department of Sanskrit, Samhita, Siddhanta, Pune. I welcome you, sir. Next, I want to welcome Dr. Ramadas P.V., Professor, Department of Samhita and Siddhanta, Amrita School of Ayurveda, Kollam. I welcome you, sir. Next, I want to welcome Dr. Anand Kati, Professor and Head, Department of Samhita Siddhanta, Government Ayurveda Medical College, Bangalore. Welcome you, sir. Next, I want to welcome Dr. Gaurav Swarkar, Professor and Head, Vice Dean, Mahatma Gandhi Ayurveda College, Wardha. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Next, I want to welcome Dr. Sripat Kumar Basu, Executive Research Director, Alberta, Canada. I welcome all the eminent speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to this evening webinar on new teaching learning methods assessment module. Thank you. Namaskar. Once again, welcome all of you. Over to Pawanji.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your blessing, sir. I would like to welcome all the experts, Agnihotri ji, Madam Kamini Diwan ji. Welcome, welcome, Madam.
Namaskar, धन्यवाद.
Namaskar, Kamini Diwan ji, Namaskar. So, without wasting much time for initial, because this is an absolutely new subject, not for me only, for every teacher who is interested to develop Ayurveda, that what government has changed the norms or methodology. So really it will be a learning session for us. I would like to request Professor V.K. Agnihotri ji for his initial words, and then respected Mohan Joshi ji.
Thank you, Dr. Professor Pawan Sharma ji, and namaskar to all the great dignitaries along with our guest speakers. A very challenging topic of today's webinar is put in front of us in the commemoration of National Education Day, as been put forward by National Commission of Indian System of Medicine, that new teaching learning methods, how the old teachers are supposed to get themselves modified with the current and newer instructions. We started our journey right from the blackboard, simple means sitting pattern, not even the lecture theater pattern. Then it came a era of getting Ayurvedic colleges modified in a form of the model college and having their pattern in a letter pattern lecture theater, along with the change of the, say, from blackboard to whiteboard or green board, depends upon the even chalk or the sketch pen. Then one more device is being introduced as per the overhead projector or epidiscope. Simple preparation of the slides and their projection. Even the books we can put in as the epidiscope is concerned. And simultaneously, there was an era where the CDs of the learned teachers made available, and with the help of the big screen of television, the students were directly given the demonstration instead of, or in the lack of the availability of the dead bodies or the restriction of the dissection. So that was also started. Yeah, or the model of the cut means organs in with the help of this microtome and all that was done. But now the thing is this, that we are all engaged with the latest electronic devices, and these are either PPT, tablet, computer, big screen, and putting all the knowledge in a audio visual form. So not much is required to learn, because the literature is in front of you. You have to precise the concept. So it is always new for the old persons and very convenient for the new persons. So we have to make a bridge in between these things, because for us to go for making PPT slide and all that, it's always a tough time. And we used to ask some of my many old or new student or contact persons to please get it done. But the scenario is that teaching learning methodology approach, along with the most of the our today's guest speakers belonging to Sangita Vivag, means either having a great knowledge of Sanskrit or having the guest knowledge of the text. And this is the weakest part of our new students. They always skip from the text. It's very difficult to go for 5, 6, as Dr. Pawan Sharma ji was telling that his grandfather having crammed up all the breath tray and all that, and he has also got a rightful honor to have 1,000 slokas. And now this is not happening. What I was doing the same manner, that you please go for one shlok for one subject daily. You will be having 365 shlokas. Important, simple, understood shlokas, so that it will be easy to learn up. Anyway, now what our commission needs and desires from us, that will be available by today's webinars, guest speakers, distinguished guest speakers. So we are all going to learn. If we are not inside the institute, we will be in position to say something to our those persons who have been taught by us. Because what I feel, that my father was teacher in government college, he was a mathematics teacher. So I feel that the teaching is in our blood, the teaching is in my genes, and I executed the same, say, for 35 years or so. So let us get ourselves modified as per the desire of our commission. With these starting words, we feel that we will be definitely delighted and highlighted with today's informations will be given by our distinguished speakers. And we do hope that simply because it is a matter of media, that the students of BMS or MD or PhD be taught with English language or Sanskrit language or Hindi language or the regional language. It again becomes a question, because Professor Ramdas ji is joining from Kollam, others are joining from Gujarat, others are joining from foreign. So it will also be a amalgamation of the languages. So let us also reach to that point, that which language will be convenient, because we are emphasizing for Sanskrit. So for Sanskrit, which of the language will be helpful? So with these words, I complete my address for today's initial starting. Thank you so much, and over to Professor Sharma, along with all the welcome to the big guys who are here. Not only the speakers, but all those who have joined, will join, and will visit our archive as a record. Thank you so much.
So thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Vishnupriya Mohanty from Goa. Thank you, Rajan Patankar Sahib from Mumbai. Thank you. Really means it is overwhelming response from you. All blessings to the platform. Thank you. Now I would like to request Dr. Mohan R. Joshi ji, MD Sanhita, PhD Ayurveda Sanhita, MA Sanskrit, MBA, GSMC, Farmer Fellowship, means really a great ocean of the knowledge. So it will be a great pleasure and fortune to us that we are listening, we are learning from such a dignitary. I welcome Dr. Joshi. Welcome. This event is live on YouTube, so please circulate YouTube live. This is my request. Thank you, Joshi ji. Swagatam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me for this session. And once more, on this educational day, arranging this kind of workshop on this subject. Because everybody wants to, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Quite
Yeah.
correct.
Because everybody wants to learn this, everybody wants to understand this, but there is hardly response to actually working on this. When it comes to the mentors and all, very few mentors are available. So we want more and more people to come here, learn this, acquire this, and try to master this new way of teaching and learning. So I'm starting my presentation. So it is not a lecture. First of all, I'm very much used to conducting workshops and seminars, not seminars, exactly workshop and short group discussions. And probably it is the way how I learn and I am teaching, or I am conducting the sessions. So probably I may ask a few questions in between, and I may request you to be involved in this. Okay. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting Dr. Sharma sir and all the dignitaries and who have joined, and other respected speakers, Prasad, Ramdas sir, Savarkar sir, and Kati sir. I hope he must have received the link and he must have joined right now, and all the dignitaries who have joined from different areas of India. So it's a vast topic. It's a vast topic, and I'm just putting a few words ahead. So, as the background said by Sharma sir and Agnihotri sir, so this is the, on the left side, it explains that how we were learning, how Ayurveda was taught in the ancient days. And on the right side, you can see these are the classes. This is the mass teaching from Gurukul, very short group, 6 to 8 students. And now there are 125 students in the class. So as per the need of the time, we have to acquire this new technique, new technology to involve the students and take them ahead. Whenever we have a small group like 4 and 5 or 6, it's easy to focus, easy to concentrate, easy to understand whether he has learned, not learned. But in a group of 120 or 125, it's very difficult. So a new method which was adopted is actually supporting this. So I'm just putting a few slides why this is necessary. So this question is asked, this is for the years. For last 3,000 years, people are learning Ayurveda. They are practicing Ayurveda. They are masters. and we know they are really good Ayurveda practitioners, physicians, pharmacists, pharmacy industrialists. So why there is need of a shift? Why we have to adopt the new technique? So first of all, here is the structure. Any educational institute, it works under Ministry of Ayush, then NCISM and UGC, again University Grant Commission, and there are various boards like NIRF and other hay. So we have to follow their norms and convert. So it's a mandate from the UGC before few years, as we are going for the new educational policy in 2022. So it will be starting, it will be shifting, and there will be a dynamic shift. There will be a paradigm shift in the way we are teaching, the way courses are conducted, the way education by and large is working in India. So these changes will affect soon, and based on that we have to adopt. So here going for MSc, something like very key document for any Ayurvedic institute. It wasn't there, it came. Then curriculum. So MSc aligned with the curriculum, and these are actually the demands. Whom we are teaching, what we want our students to be. So basically, our objective is to make them clinician, or they will become the academician. They will be in the pharma industry. They will go in research, or they will go in some other occupations. So based on that, we have to manage or align our curriculum according to that need. So this alignment is necessary, and based on that alignment, after observing various other ways how other institutes are teaching, how Western institutes are teaching, probably their education pattern, which was very rigorous, is adopted based on the curriculum designing or curriculum planning system. And it starts with the problem identification. This is a 6-step approach which was actually taken, and based on that this curriculum is designed. So proposed path for the curriculum was designed to introduce the outcome, then identify the outcome group, and then finish. So first year process is right now finished, and other process soon will be conducted by NCISM. So after completing, after teaching as a teacher in the class, after 6 months, what I feel that I want to share here. So whom we are teaching, basically it's a 10+2 students. They are coming from physics, chemistry and biology background. So what they are learning, when we see they are learning physics, chemistry, biology, botany, geography, mathematics, history, so many subjects, and they have probably more orientation, more knowledge of these all sciences. And what are the ways with which they learn? If we go to their books are filled with the appropriately education technology based platform. That means there will be a certain objective, there will be a short points, after every points there will be some kind of notes, there will be take home messages, there will be activities, and they are coming from that background to our colleges in our books, and reading from the samhitas, reading from the textbooks available. And this is actually a difference they feel. This major gap needs to be bridged by some kind of development or some kind of enhancement. That means keeping the structure intact, keeping the principles of Ayurveda, keeping the originality of Ayurveda. It's just a way to put in a different way, different educational platform or educational methodology. So these are the qualities of a doctor that they are expecting, and we are also expecting them to be a good physician, a counselor. Based on that, these are the roles they are going to play: a healer, a communicator, a health advocate, a planner, researcher, and academician or educator. So not for the student, but also for the patient, also for the society. So these are by and large role that we expect them to play. But the question is, we are teaching Ayurveda, but we have to again focus on these areas where he will master some of the elements. and they should be in the curriculum itself. Based on these background, the new curriculum is designed. So here we can see outcome-based curriculum. So if we read this, if you don't know where we are going, you will probably end up somewhere. So a path should be certain. We have to know a certain path is required, a probable path which will suggest, which will guide us is expected, which is required, and probably this particular system is to provide this kind of path, and this is outcome based curriculum. So what is the difference between the previous curriculum and the outcome based curriculum? Previously what we were having is a syllabus, a content list, and right now it's a curriculum. A curriculum is a whole process. It starts with the need identification, that the need was identified, to whom we are teaching, what are the expectations of the industry, what they want to become administrator or academician, what is requirement, a good communication skill, for example. So most of the points which are required to be a successful professional person, all the points are taken care, and then this kind of platform was designed. So a fixed outcome was designed, and to design that outcome, it was expected ki what should be the outcome, who will decide, and what is the expectation. So graduate attributes or qualities of Vaidya. So if we go through our samhitas, like sir said, more than 2000 sutras, 4000 sutras, and all three samhitas by hearted. If we go through many such words, at the end of most of the chapters or within particular chapters, we come across these kind of statements, which either full chapter describing the qualities of Vaidya, like Vimansthan, like Sutrasthan 30th chapter, or there are few chapters which starts from the qualities of Vaidya, 1 line, 2 line, in the scattered from in most of the adhyayas. So all such graduate attributes were collected by the committee, and based on that, what is expectation, what actually outcome we expect in our student was designed. Based on that, it is called as program outcome. So this outcome based curriculum, first of all, program outcome was decided based on graduate attributes. वैद्य गुणों को देखकर उसका outcome decide कर लिया गया, and then we gradually move ahead with graduate attributes to program outcomes. So program was divided in 3 phases: preclinical, paraclinical, and clinical. And in preclinical, each, when we used to call it as subject, now we call it as course. So it become a course, and for particular course, there was a certain outcome which was expected. Before this, it was there, subject was there, content list was there, but what exactly is expected out of that particular course or subject? At the end of the course, what a student should know, it was neither clear to new teacher and nor to the learning students. I have specifically used the word new teacher, because who is completing a graduation and entering into the education without any background of how to teach. But a senior experts or traditionally learned teachers, they are probably well versed in this. They have mastered these kind of techniques, and most of the techniques or practices used in this curriculum, they are practiced somewhere and they are taken here as the experience, and most of the people shared their experiences, and based on that, this is designed. So graduate attribute on the left hand side, you can see this column. You want to download, you can download from the NCISM website. In the user manual, these are the graduate attributes and program outcomes written. So what Ayurveda is basically related to 3 doshas and knowledge of 3 doshas, 3 sutratmak Ayurveda, what we say. So swasthaturayoh krute hetulinga aushadhatmakasya 3 sutrasya ayurvedasya jnata bhavet. So this was the expectation, first expectation. Then vividha shastra sevanadibhi paryavadata vishuddhata Jnanavata, Bahusho Drushta Karmata cha. Based on that, these I'm not going through each and every, but Prakruti, Vikruti, Yukti, Pratipattivit, Karma Kushalaha, Jita Hastacha, Vidnyata, Shasita, Yokta, Chikitsa Pravrutascha, Daksha, Shuchi, Sadurutta Karunavancha, Satatadhyayana Paraha, Sushtu Sambhashana Kshamaha, and Chikitsaka, Anveshaka, Adhyapaka Gunanam Jnata, Abhikankshanaha cha. So these are the 9 actually qualities are decided. These at least qualities should be there. And if you look at them carefully, they are actually the extract of everything. So they cover a broad domain, broad area or knowledge area. And based on that, for each quality, one outcome was decided. For example, Sushtu Sambhashana Kshama demonstrate the ability to effectively communicate with patient, families, communicate and peers, community and peers. So this is how it started, and this is the best thing I find, because when we visit any curriculum, this is the first expectation, that after completing the curriculum, what he will learn, how will he be judged, and what industry or academic person expect, what he knows. So based on that, this structure was adopted, and the first professional curriculum is divided in these 5 courses. So they have their names. Some of the modifications are there, like Ayurveda Itihas, which was previously an independent subject earlier. Then it was a part in Padartha Vidyan, and now it is shifted to Sanskrit. Sanskrit, which was reduced from 2 papers to 1 paper, now again got 2 papers, and only 20 marks Ayurveda Itihas is there. So weightage of Sanskrit is also increased. The way it is taught is also changed. Ramdas sir will provide us the details about it. And next, Padartha Vigyan, Dr. Anand Katti will speak on Padartha Vigyan, and Rachana Sharir, Dr. Gaurav Savarkar will speak on Rachana Sharir. I'll probably limit to Samhita Adhyayan, and before that, I will go through some of the educational principles, why this is converted. So for every course, there is a course outcome, and the course outcome is linked to the program outcome, and program outcome is linked to the ultimate goal. So first time we can see it was considered why we need Sanskrit for understanding of Samhitas, but it was not clearly documented. Now we have a clear documentation why it is there. So these are the curriculum program outcomes, course outcomes linked to the appropriate program outcomes. I will not go in the details of each and every one, but I want to share this. Yes, it is available in course curriculum file, and this is called as a mapping. So if we see at what will be covered, so amongst these 9 program outcomes, which program outcomes are covered in per subject. For example, here you can, on the right side, you can see PV, P1, CO1, that is course outcome 1, and course outcome 1 is matched with the program outcome. So this is a bit complex chart which actually explains most of the things. So whenever we are planning, whenever we are thinking, we have to see that our teaching, learning, assessment, and actually instructions, everything needs to be aligned, everything needs to be matched. So this is probably a triangle where we can see everything aligned, and this is the beauty of this curriculum. That means everyone is clear that this, in this particular subject or course, what we are learning, why we are learning, what is expected out of it, how it will be taught, and how it will be assessed. So this complete idea, the complete chart or the blueprint or the map is provided in this curricular document. And probably that's why 9-point syllabus, 9-point content list of Sanskrit went to, I think, 59 or 89 pages, and so clear. Everything is clear. A very simple 3-line Ashtang Hruday content list, 1 to 15 chapter for 60 marks and 16 to 30 chapter for 40 marks. These 2 lines plus 0.8 point list that actually went to 80 pages, exploring or and explaining everything in detail, why we want to study, what will be what will be taught, how it will be taught. And this clarity is due to this new curricular technique that is adopted, and this will bring everyone at a uniform platform. There are many opportunities of this. For example, someone who is a education expert, and he is evaluating education, what is taught in Ayurveda syllabus. So what amount of Sanskrit he knows, what amount of Sanhita he knows, what are the methods used, and how he was assessed, and how much he have gained the knowledge. Everything is framed here. And looking at just that document, a person can easily identify, okay, he knows this, these were the points, this is how he was taught, and this is how he has learned, and this is how he has given the exam and cleared the exam. Not just theory, practical, but every detail of theory, every detail of practical. And this is the beauty of this outcome based approach. And all this revolves around these 3 magical words: knowledge, skills, and attitude. This is what we experience. Knowledge is Yan, skill is what we perform, and attitude related to heart, what we feel. So knowledge, skills, and attitude, these words will keep on coming. Knowledge represents Yan or buddhi related work, that is cognition. It is related to head. Hands, whatever we do practically, we perform, we actually execute, will come in the psychomotor domain, which is related to heart, and affective domain, something like morals, ethics, principles, anything like punctuality, respecting the go to Rachana, respecting the cadaver. All the things will come in certain kind of affective domain. So initially everything was in cognitive domain. A very few points in some of the practical oriented subjects like Dravya Gun, Rasa Shastra were explained to be done, to be performed, or practically done, that is psychomotor, and nothing related to affective. But right now, in each and every curriculum file, we have this understanding that few cognitive, few psychomotor, and few affective part of domain. In each subject, each point, each section is covered, and it will be assessed accordingly, because there are different methods to assess. So this is a clear-cut aligning. First, understanding what we are teaching, then dividing it in appropriate knowledge, skills, and attitudes. And knowledge should be taught in a way it should be, and assessed it should be. Skill should be taught and then assessed according to the skills, and attitude should be taught. There are different methods to teach attitudinal domain, and probably few of the methods which we were directly or indirectly practicing, but now we have a written document that this is how it should be taught and this is how it should be assessed. A very little component of affective domain is to be assessed because it is difficult to assess, and there are different ways. Probably our infrastructure, our current academic infrastructure and staffing pattern do not support this, but few are definitely there. So moving ahead, now coming to the basic point. Actually, this is not an appropriate question to be asked and question to be answered, because everyone is teaching. Like sir said, even before my admission to this BMS course, he was master and he was teaching faculty. But still, this is what it says: ki learning is a relatively permanent change in the or in mental perception or behavior due to the experiences. So what is experience? Whatever we do, learn, attend classes, do practically, everything come under the learning experience. So this is a new coin term to the teaching, that learning experience. We say teaching, hum padhate hai, but this is the learning experience, what student experiences out of the given. So it is not just the teaching. This is a one way of actually giving the knowledge, but there are many ways, many ways. So a very least concern point, like when we teach, it's okay, but he learns in a different way. He learns through his perceptions. He learns through his ideas and whatever knowledge he constructs. Sometimes if he have doubts, he may go to some other student who may be his colleague, who may be his classmate, and he also learn from him. So that is a peer learning. So there are various methods of learning. That means direct learning, indirect learning, and as said by the sir, it's evolved. It's evolved a lot. Not just tools are evolved, like sir said, from blackboard to now smart boards. Everything is changed, but probably those are only the tools, those are only the medias which we are using. But the perception, now information is easily available. You just asked and student will Google, he is more smarter, more faster, and he will come out with the answer even faster. But that is an answer, that is a information. We want to convert that information into the wisdom, into the knowledge. So this is how the mental perception that we want to create, or the relatively permanent change that we want to create, giving him some kind of exposure. So giving a guest lecture can be an exposure. Visiting some places can be an exposure. So these are the ways which were not documented. Now we have included them in the curriculum. So all the committees who are working, they were focusing on this particular area, how to involve, how to include various ways, the process of acquiring new understanding of knowledge, behavior, skills, and attitude with various learning experiences. So there are different types of learners, like visual learners, auditory learners, read write kind of learners, and again kinesthetic learners. So the one who listens and learn, the ones who reads and learn, one who actually do. So the famous statement is tell me and I will forget, kind of thing, and give me the experience and then I will remember. So this is all about giving the experience. So provide him the experience. Now I'm just taking you, it is again related to the principle how we retain the information. So first is attention. Then we have our own way to encode, store, and then at the time of recall, we have our own method to recall. Okay, let's focus. And here I was expecting some answers from you. Which are these movies? काफी पहचानी पहचानी मूवी है.
Pavan Kumar sir, unmute and tell, please. Pavan Kumar sir, unmute and tell.
लगान, मुन्ना भाई, शाहरुख खान वाली समझ में नहीं आ रही, नहीं तो जेम्स
देवदास
बॉन्ड,
है. देवदास है.
शायद देवदास हो सकती है.
Yes, देवदास है, and ये जेम्स
देवदास के
बॉन्ड है.
जमाने में थे.
Okay, so just to have, though we might have seen the movie once, but it directly goes to the long-term memory. Why? It has some kind of emotional attachment, some way in which our brain has encoded and it remains in the mind. So there are ways to encode and then ways to store. So probably this is very famous. Kung Fu Panda. Probably when I show this kind of things to students, they just come up. And just to share, moving out a minute, Padartha Vidyan, basic principles, everything that we keep on talking. So last week we had a session on this Kung Fu Panda movie. It's an animated movie. Are there any principles involved in this? So this was discussed, and based on discussions in this movie, some of the clips in the movie, we had the discussions that which are the principles, why they are there, and how they are related to our principles. So this is a interactive activity by which they learned a lot and they came out with a very good answers. Even this week we are celebrating the in our college we are celebrating the philosophy day. So it is on the third Thursday of November every time, and even UNESCO notified day. It's a UNESCO notified day, and we are celebrating that in our college. So based on that, we have a few activities, and today we have that kind of activity where all the students actually came out and performed what they come out learning, like Big Bang theory, chemical evolution, physical evolution, and other kind of evolution mechanisms. And as we have taught them our principles, they presented, few students presented this, and there was a group discussion and probably a thought sharing process. So this is the way with which we can force them, or we can help them to encode the material in such a way that there will be a good storage for the long time, and probably then recall. Again, coming to this, so many principles, so many stories, and probably they like this kind of way and approach, and probably they come out. I'm not saying that we have to involve these kind of pictures every time or these kind of material. This is just to suggest that yes, it goes into the long-term memory, as every dialogue, every screen, every frame, even seen once, it goes to the long-term memory for the kids. So that kind of experience we want to create with our teaching learning methods, so that it will go to the long-term memory, and for each and every moment there will be a point where they will help that to recall. So suppose we have taken an activity, yesterday we just discussed that some activity was taken in the first day when their college started in the April, but they remembered everything. Otherwise, in a normal lecture, just giving and delivering the lecture, it's not possible. But there was some incidents, and few things were related to that incidents and that quotes. So that went to the long-term memory. So even we remember that if we have done something and given some wrong answer in the exam, and our teacher has corrected us, that goes to the long-term memory. It will be always with us. Something good answer and then praised by our teacher, it will directly go to the long-term memory and it will directly remain. So how we learn? So this is basically a Bloom's taxonomy pyramid for the knowledge, and these are also steps starting from the base: remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So I'm not going into the details of this because it will take time, but here comes the second thing, like skills, psychomotor domain. So this particular example, just to brief, that we know, got motivated, learn few skills, started, बाद में we learned, and finally we mastered like difficult skills. So even for the Nadi, first day nothing, second day nothing, first week nothing. After gradually practicing and analyzing it for months and years under guidance of Guru, then we learn a bit. Okay. So same applies with the skill from base to the apex, and then again for the attitude, observing. Then first thing is observing, receiving, responding, valuing, organizing, and finally character building. So these are again the steps for the attitudinal domain. So this is how it is: 3 domains, 4 ways, and these 3 ways of learning. Considering this as the base, everything is designed out of this. Sanskrit, Ramdas sir is here, so he is the authority. He will speak on this Sanskrit, how it is. So basically, the question is, are they kids or are they adults? So the answer is yes, they are not kids, they are adults. So even after the 8th, we consider them an adult. So there are ways with which adults and individuals or students, that is a pedagogy, kids learn, and andragogy, adults learn. So these are the principles which are based at the designing, that we want to make them self-directed learners. So based on that, few outcomes are there, experience based. So whenever we want to learn something, we always want experience based. So it wasn't there. I don't remember student asking ki why to learn Padartha Vignan. Sir, when we entered the college, Padartha Vignan was taught, history was taught. We really bothered. Okay, padha rahe, pad lo, understand and remember. But the now generation is even 8, 9, and 10 student. They say, ki, okay, why I'm learning this, how it will benefit me, and where I'm going to apply this. And this is probably the first question that we experience in Padartha Vignan. Anand sir, are you here? Is it same?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am hearing you. You're absolutely right.
Yes. So every time, whenever they come to the Padartha Vignan class, they are with a big question mark that how it is useful, and to convince them it's not possible. Conducting 10 sessions, not possible. But let them make realize that yes, it works here. Show them and they will remember. Show them the evidence and they will remember. So it is converting again to the evidence based. So experience based, something they want problem centered. So this problem centered approach is most important. कोई भी problem दे दो and now they are converting. Even for the very simple thing, Sanni Karsha, we used to remember, we used to recite, we used to by heart, and then read, remember, and go ahead. But now when I see, it gradually goes away. But when we have linked it to the problem based learning, एक problem बना के दे दिया, and they are coming with the answers, then there are discussions. Now it goes to the long-term memory, and probably in the last week we completed this activity. They have prepared the scenarios. So batch wise, they have created the scenarios. Actually, they are going higher. They are going from just remembering and reciting. Now they are applying, is again done. Now they are creating the problems for the others to find the answers within that. So we have taken them a bit level higher from the cognitive domain. Application oriented. So this is again problem based, application oriented. And second thing is motivated. So this is a lot more difference. Information is there. Those who are motivated, they are always coming, reading, they are understanding, they are referring to the various sites. Now for recitation, initially we used to record in the classroom. But now if you go and try to find out the Ashtanga Hridaya recited, you may come across at least 50 to 60 sites where Ashtanga Hridaya recitation is already available. So those who are motivated, they will go and recite. They will learn from there also. So they are not waiting for you to teach in the class. Considering this, their motivation needs a proper direction, and let's motivate them for different areas where we can take them at the higher domains like research, and few of the part that is done. Safe learning environment, yes, we are providing them. So these are the basic ways: a large class, small class, team collaboration, independently given work, and out of the classroom experiences. So these are the experiences were considered and they are involved in our present curriculum. So what we expect: readiness to learn, learning ability, and learning interest. This is what is expected from the student right now, and rest of the things will be automatic. For example, just highlighting, going for the Sanhita. Recitation, yes. Anvaya, as sir said, integrated. Here before it wasn't possible, but now it is official that a Sanskrit teacher and Sanhita teacher will go in the class. They will read the sutras, they will give the anvayas, they will give the sandhi, samasas. Everybody was teaching the same, but with this integrated approach and more collaboration between the teams, now it is possible that most of the part which was expected in Sanskrit is shifted to Sanskrit, and most of the part which was expected in Samhita is shifted to Samhita. So Going ahead, how we teach. So reading first, activate the prior knowledge. This is the advanced level. Sometimes it was done in the second, third year, but right now we are doing this to activate the prior knowledge. So even this is very useful for Padarth Vignan. This is very useful for Ashtanga Hridaya. Whatever they know, we are asking them. So based on that, there are few practicals, which was their experiences, their feelings, their thoughts related to like perception of Ayurveda. So it came here to activate the prior knowledge, use the contextual clues. वहां पे जो है वो clues they are using, infer the meaning between the lines, think aloud. So this is the actually self activity as well as the group activity sometimes. Summarize in the story. So we are asking them to narrate, we are asking them to rewrite, we are asking them to do various things with the sutras. And finally, look for the keywords. Keywords is the actually buzzword right now. Unless we have the keywords, we cannot search anything. So it may be the dictionaries, it may be the Google or everything. Let's go for the keywords, and keywords will help you to track the or link the things together. And one single keyword can take you to any of the subjects. Like it can go to Sanskrit, can go to Padartha Vignan, it can go to Ashtanga Hridaya, it can come to Sharirika Kriya, it can come to Rachna, and this keyword will help them make the prediction. Think, pair, share. Think, what will be the next sutra? Why this next sutra? So prediction, yes, it helps, it works. And use the use word attack strategies, define root words, and this is probably done in Samhitas. This is a new technique. Visualize. Like visualize. Say Vayoho Ratri Bhuktanam te Antya Madhya Dikakram. Very easy. But they need to visualize. And if they could visualize, they should be able to organize. And if they are ready to organize, they should be able to convert it into the graphical format or evaluate in some way and present in the graphical format. See, these are the pictures which were collected from the previous batch. Maulik Siddhanta, you can see this is our classroom, and these are the submissions from the students. So a single line, Vayoho Ratri Bhuktanam, they have their own drawing. They have created this drawing and they have submitted. So we are practicing this, reading, then going to keywords, understanding, and taking them ahead. So now someone who just have gone through and recited, and someone who have actually created these kind of things, there will be a lot of difference in the understanding of the students. That's what the theory says, and that's what if we are also practicing. So though this came this year curriculum, present curriculum, but all of here are the part of Ramdas sir, Gaurav, then Anand sir, all were the part of committee members. So we know we were doing this from 2021. So we have already started applying this in our classrooms. So major thing is critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. So this comes under the creativity. These are the main group activities that are required that will help students to understand in a better way. Suppose we are just listening, passive listener, from passive listener to active learner, the way is interaction. Whenever we, as Sanhita said, Adhyayana, Adhyapana, and finally Tadvidya Sambhasha. Tadvidya Sambhasha is not just seminars and workshop. It is the classroom activity. Remember, read, interact, discuss. Most of the doubts are clear at that particular moment. So doubt clearance is done, and then we can go ahead and give them more task or more difficult task. So it's a collaborative learning, coming together, organizing the plan, working with single slide, 18 slides in a particular PPT, and 5 students who are going to present. So they know what is the sequence, what is the procedure, and again, anybody will present. So everyone knows everything, entire thing. So probably they will discuss, they will create, and they will collaborate with each other and probably come out with the presentation. So the activities we were expecting in a postgraduate, now they are taken to the classroom in the first year and first term itself. Idea sharing, collaboration, discussion, community work. So community, yes, I'm going to share one experience with you. And community, yes, we can come together and we can discuss, brainstorm and interact. Okay. So there are many ways. So these are basically the expectations: communication, open-mindedness, problem solving, and creativity. Because as a physician or as any professional, they need these skills to be there whenever they are working, whenever they are doing. They have to analyze the situation. They have to communicate. They have to be open-mindedness, a good listener. Then problem solving. Every case is a challenge. Every case is a problem. So though we keep on teaching our student that this exam, final exam, periodic assessment, term, and these are not real exams. The exam is whenever patient will ask you, the patient will come you with the complaints, and you have to give the results. And he comes with the satisfaction. That is the actually certificate that we get. And that's why we are increasing. So there are two approaches: surface learning and deep learning. Again, I'm taking you to the bit of the philosophy of learning. So surface learning is those, it's simple. I have attended the lecture, I have made the notes, I have recited, and then I'm giving the answer. This is surface. But what is deep learning? I know what to learn. I have read it before. I have attended the class. I have few doubts. I have discussed those doubts with friends, colleagues, teachers. I have difficulties. I try to solve, then get the proper solution, then made my own notes, shared my notes, presented my notes, submitted my notes, and this is the deep approach. So there are two different approaches, and we want our students to take this kind of approach, and that actually reflects in our curriculum document. So this is the third table where everything is clearly written. Everything, a course outcome, what objectives we have to, then which domain they belong to, then what is their level, and is it must know, nice to know, or desirable to know, and then at what level of Miller's pyramid we want to. Is it a cognitive? Then it's okay to know how, it's a better understanding, applying. But show how, this is a psychomotor. And if there are skill related part, then it will go to the show and shows how level. Then which TL method, which teaching learning method we are going to use, and which kind of assessment we are going to do. So there are many assessments, many kind of teaching learning methods: inquiry based, problem based, and project based, team based, and flipped classroom. Dr. Gaurav will speak on this, so I'm just leaving it here. Blended learning, the use of technology in the classroom. It's a lot. So it's a challenging, but still most appreciated whenever we use technology. And thanks to, we should not, but thanks to COVID situation, where we started using the technology a lot during the virtual classrooms, and it reflected now in the actually current classroom. And even in the classroom, they have the smartphone, they have the free internet connection, and 1 GB, 1.5 GB. So it's very easy to conduct these kind of blended sessions right now using the technology, using the softwares, early clinical exposure and simulations, and role plays. Again, doing something. So a natural selection theory of natural selection was performed by students spontaneously in the classroom with a role play today. So this was, I think, the certificate for our actually journey, actually motivation to the student, that they are thinking, yes, we can present this, we should present this. No, nobody has asked them to do that, but now they are coming with the role play. So after experiencing 10 to 12 role plays in the different situations in last 6 months, now they think that role play can be a good idea to present this kind of scenario. Okay, so workshops, yes, it happens. So I'm sharing my one small experience. There are many, but just to take away, Dinacharya, second chapter. What was the old method? We used to teach the topic, we used to teach in a proper way. We have also learned, recited the sutras, understood the meaning, and only part was theory, few questions, one or two questions, and probably one question if chance comes on in the Viva. Okay, that was the weightage. How it was taught in the classroom, and which was the method used? Learning lecture, reading, and teaching. That was the methods. With these methods, there are very less. So lecture 5%, reading 10%, audio visual 15%, demonstration 20%. So this was the weightage of the retention. And then there are higher methods like discussions and then participative learning and team-based learning and all other, which have a larger impact. So if we think to measure this on the Bloom's taxonomy pyramid, the level was only remember and understand, nowhere apply level. But right now, this current curriculum, you can see it is everywhere. From the course outcome course outcome itself, the fourth outcome describes that practice and prescribe dinacharya. So expectation is there, he should know is not the expectation. So right now, remember and understand, that is gone. Now we expect them to prescribe. So we are asking a higher level from the students, and based on that, this curriculum is designed. For example, dinacharya, the first content, if you see the contents, a clear demarcation, how many lectures and lecture and non-lecture activities. So non-lecture are the team-based activities, group-based activities, and other activities which are not lecture but which will help students to learn, and they are here. And based on that, if we go through the curriculum file, these are the expectation. Explain the need to wake up before sunrise, brahme murte uttishta. Why he should, kind of how to teach. Then the respective dinacharya procedures. I'm not going through each and every one, but come to the fourth point. On the right side, this is highlighted. You can see the group activities and currently using toothpaste. For example, they are using toothpaste, but are they using Ayurvedic toothpaste? Can be a question. But right now, it is not just that question. They have to find out which are the herbal toothpaste in the market, and there is a discussion in the classroom. So probably we are preparing them for the practice right now from the first year without asking them. Distinguish the Savviranjan and Rasanjan. See the activity. They have to find out which are the market samples, and then benefits, merits and demerits of this Anjan procedure. What theory says, what is practiced. Okay, then from the other points also, if we go to the procedure like Vyayam, not just Vyayam, definition of Vyayam, indications, contraindications, Gajam, Siya, Iva, Karshan, Bhajannati, Videshyati, Drushtanta, everything is there. But addition to that, there will be a debate in the classroom based on the aerobic and anaerobic exercises. So that means they know the types of exercise, they know the benefits, they will go for other kind of works and a few activities which we want to take them ahead, like research-based activities. Some of the activities which are research-based, even in the first year, research updates. So they will search on the net which are the research-related updates related to dinacharya procedures, all procedures. And probably there will be the group interactions and discussions, and their activity book. In the activity book they will write. Addition to that, in dinacharya there is a problem-based learning, volunteering, surveys. So here you can see 5%, 10%. So we were initially focusing on, you can see here, I'm just taking a few slides back just to find the relevant matter. Okay, so here everything is covered, all kind of activities, say 90% project based. And these upakramas, they are divided into knowledge, skills, cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. And finally, what we have done to first year students, here it is listed here. You can see they have to recite. In the periodic assessment, the recitation will be checked. Discussions, they will be conducted related to Anjan, Dhupan, and various procedures in the classroom. Clinical training, they will be trained how to give Nasya. And our students, they are practiced. They have done Abhyanga to each other, Mukhabhyanga and Nasya. Every student has taken Nasya. Okay, every student has done Udvartana and Gandush in the Panchakarma department in collaboration with Panchakarma department. So after that, a quiz was taken and Swasthya interview, which was a part of curriculum. They have practiced. So a daily chart, 15 days dinacharya, 21 days dinacharya follow. So they have practiced, they have marked whatever differences they have observed. Brahma Muhurta, who could who could get up at Brahma Muhurta, who could not, they have marked. And based on that, if they get up at Brahma Muhurta, what differences they observed in their daily routine, what are their experiences, they were shared in the classroom. And everything went into the activity book. They have done the survey of 10 individuals. And for that survey, we have prepared with the role play how to go and how to do the survey. So communication skill was also involved. And there are these kind of funny quizzes were taken, online quizzes. If you want to experience, I can share the link so that this is a frog jump. So whenever this is a question, they have to answer. They have to click here, not answer, click here and on the appropriate answer. The frog, if the answer is correct, the frog will jump. So anyway, whenever we click, the frog will jump. And if the answer is correct, they will get points. And the answer is not correct, the frog will just collapse. It will go in water. Okay. So this is how entertaining based edutainment approach of learning is added in this quiz. So it comes under the formative assessment. So there are two types of within class and term test, or where we cannot give the feedback, that is the final assessment. That is the summative assessment, and where we can give the feedback, that is a formative assessment. Various kinds of formative assessment, role plays, discussions, group discussions, gradings, these types of clouds, word clouds, then word arts, then crosswords. We have also shared crosswords with them. So in each chapter there will be a crossword and they are solving, and actually they are enjoying this kind of way of learning. So model making, chart making, dinacharya, they have prepared, everyone has prepared one chart on one procedure, and that as an activity book we have so collected them, and they will bring their portfolio at the time of examination, and that will be graded. So there are many kinds of these newer assessments. Due to the short of the time, I will not go, but here the brain represent left side analytical, right side creative. So this is the amalgamation where we want our students to learn everything in this new curriculum related to our subjects. With enhanced understanding of our subject, I'm sure they will be the good practitioners in the future, or good academicians, or good industry persons. Out of interest, when they learn Udvartan this year, 8 batches, they were active, they came together, they found out which are the contents, and they have prepared their Udvartan powder this year itself in the first year. So this is how they are motivated to do the things. With these few words, I think I should stop here.
Excellent, Dr. Mohan Joshi, excellent.
Sir, I will take just one more minute. Somebody has
Not 1
asked,
minute, you can take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, as you please.
Sir, somebody has asked how to make that and how to show that. So
Dr.
actually,
Kamini Dhimanji from All India Institute of Ayurveda.
oh, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for asking this question. Your question has given me some opportunity. So instead of sharing the link, I can help you. So this is the software. Everything is open. There are many such, and I'm crazy for the technology. So I keep on trying. I keep on doing many activities online. And this is the frog jump, and EduCup Play is the software with minimum remuneration and sometimes free. Is it visible, sir?
Clear,
Hello?
clear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So can you read the question? So here it starts. Is the sound visible? Sound audible? It is with the background music.
No. Sound is not audible.
Okay, sound may not be audible.
Because during sharing, you should have clicked 2 boxes there.
Okay.
Please stop sharing.
Share sound. Okay, thank you, sir. I just missed that. I have now clicked and sharing the screen as well as sound and audio. Is it audible, sir? Hello?
Not
You
now.
have to stop the sharing.
Yes,
Then
sir.
again go. Yes. Now share.
Went to sharing now.
Two boxes are there. Two boxes are there.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have clicked on two boxes, share sound and optimize for video clip.
Right, sir. Right. I
Yeah.
hope now
And,
it's okay.
is it okay?
No sound.
Okay.
Sound is not there.
Sound is not there. Okay. Let's consider. This is the question. Which Anjana should be used daily? So Saviranjanam Nityam. So if I click,
Now sound is there.
yeah. So the frog had jumped and I got some points. Sthirikarana Manganam is the quality of which Upakrama? So student should know Udvartanam Kafaharam Veda Sapravilayanam Sthirikarana Manganam Tok Prasada Karakparam. Just click and it will give you the points. Now I'm going to answer a wrong question just to show how it works. So, is it okay?
Good, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Madam is asking name of software.
Uh,
Kamini ji. Dr. Kamini ji को मैं आमंत्रित करता हूँ direct question करने. Welcome, Dr. Kamini.
It was very nice presentation, and I could not stop myself to listen whole lecture. Generally, I never do like that. Pawanji knows, but it was really very nice presentation. So that was my query, that how you manage this thing, that so many times we are also doing like this. So this was new for me, that prepare this slide as frog jump.
Yes,
So I was enthusiastic to learn what is this and how can we make.
There are many softwares. I'm sharing the link of this particular software, so that by clicking the link you can get the name of the software. And so I'm sharing this link. Okay. I wasn't knowing, otherwise I could have shared more. Okay, this one. You will get the name of the website also, educaplay.com. Hello?
Okay, I'll get it. No issue.
Okay. And there are many. As sir said, I'm taking actually the disadvantage of the given flexibility, but there are many things which we can do with various softwares, like for this kind of is it visible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Visible.
Yeah, so this is Panchavayu Vakya. So 5 factors. So this is the scramble word. Actually, students like this kind of playful learning. So Pratijna, Hetu, Udharana, Upanaya, Nigaman, we have to arrange this. Okay, I'm just moving, stopping this. I hope you got the idea. So there are many online portals also
and quiz and puzzles, even online puzzles. Student can write from their mobile online. So gone are the days when we used to do this and share the uh, word file with the student or print out with the student. They used to do, then take a printout and then write and then submit. Everything can be done online, and there are many such activities that will help student to engage them and and motivate them in a better way.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर मोहन जी, आपने बहुत ही अच्छे और सरल शब्दों में सब कुछ समझाया. ग्रेट,
Thank you, sir.
excellent. We will be troubling you again and again because
Most
we are
welcome, sir.
celebrating every day with Ayush. Agnihotri ji.
Namaskar. Thank you, sir. I was very sincerely, keenly, deeply listening Professor Mohan Joshi ji's lecture. 2-3 point is very, very important. I am jealous to see that how a person be so intelligent, knowledgeful, skilled, and having the power of deliberation, which is inbuilt in Professor Mohan Joshi ji. I visited on 15th of August your Tilak College with Professor Vishnu Jovalkar ji. I don't know whether I have the fortune to meet you or not after just flag hosting ceremony. In the very beginning of 25 up to 25 minutes, I became a student of first year Padarth Vigyan. Honestly speaking, that how it should be taught and what is the sense of Padarth Vigyan as you as a student taught up to 5 minutes. And then when you started thinking that it should be taught like this, it should like this, then I realized that I am also a teacher. I had been teacher, so let us have these parameters. And again, when you started the point of Dincharya in a form of module, I again became a student. Because I am Sanskrit teacher, I completed my post-graduation in Sanskrit first time in India, way back in 1983. So I again became the teacher, student, that how this Dincharya can be moduled and it can be communicated to the students, the newer students. Though it's almost NCERT pattern, I think after a completion of every chapter, there was a say hard words and exercise and fill in the gaps and all that, the same pattern. Our first scaredness is this, that you talked about, that the observance of students or the public person for 21 days, whether they are awaking in Brahmurta or not. It was your module. On contrary, it is equally important for those who have you have chosen as a module to observe for the event of Brahmurta awakening, whether they have consumed their last night meals, dinner, in the Prathamam Peharantre, 6 to 9 p.m. and at the same time, at what time they slept.
Yes, sir.
Because this is equally appreciated, otherwise it's of no sense to just observe for Brahmurta. I do hope that you have taken these points in a precaution manner. But this becomes a very important factor. And again, because I'm a Sanskrit candidate, I will like to do in the same manner. Again, one scarcity also came in my mind, that if we indulge our students or ourselves in the same manner, using with these gadgets in the form of the mobile or tablets or computer, how much hours we persons of IRES supposed to be allowed to use these gadgets. Because again, 20-20-20 program is still important as far as the ENT surgeons are telling. 20 minutes continuously observing this strain, you have to wait for 20 seconds, and for during that period, you have to go to gauge up to 20 feet distance. So you are a embodiment of complete knowledge, action, skill, and everything. I am really proudful that you are with us. But these are little doubts, if you can make it clear. Thank you so much. And but I appreciate your whole presentation,
Doctor,
not only in the form of Kamini
Gaurav
Diwan or
Sagarkar ji has another meeting, sir.
yes sir, yes sir, yes sir.
So I would like to request Dr.
You
Gaurav
please
Sagarkar ji,
put the
Yes, sir.
intent.
Professor and Head, Department of Rachna Sharir and Vice Dean of Mahatma Gandhi Ayurvedic College, Wardha. Welcome. Thank you, Mohan sir. Thank you, Mohan Joshi ji, आपको introduce करने के लिए. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So nice.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pavan Kumar Sharma, sir, for giving this opportunity as a guest speaker in this international guest series. I am audible, sir?
Clear.
Okay. Very nice lecture by Dr. Mohan Joshi, sir. Actually, sir made my pathway easy to introduce some teaching learning methods in the current scenario. To the topic of my lecture, the introduction to the teaching learning methods, and particularly with the concern with the subject of Rachna Sharir, and skipping some sides because some are the same content with the Mohan Joshi sir. So, as per sir says, there are new trends in the teaching learning, the old way of the learning, and this is the new trend to the learning. That are tell me and I will forget, and show me I will remember, and involve me and I will understand. The same thing Mohan sir tell in this lecture. So what we mean by learning? That learning is a transformation of information to the knowledge. Means sir said that the Google is the information, but we are going to be convert it into the knowledge in the question answer of some questions. So we should know some important facts in teaching learning. So what and how students going to be learn? Why some of them don't learn or not understand some topics or some difficult situations, and when do they learn better? Means by which teaching learning method they should learn about some topics, and the aim the making teaching learning as enjoyable and interesting process, that the edutainment, as sir said rightly before my lecture. So in the past, there's a simple teaching that the only telling is not a teaching, and the mere listening is not a learning. There is only the classroom teaching. But in today's situation, there's a higher level of understanding. There is the interaction with the students and the interaction within the group of the classroom and with the teacher. That the interactive teaching is the most important in the today's situation. There are so many teaching learning methods are available in the current scenario, that the practical, the tactical teaching, demonstrations, seminars, group discussion, SDL, PBL. I'm just moving towards the slides to just orient to the teaching learning system. These are the teaching learning methods having the lecture, tutorials, seminars, symposium, workshops, self-study, demonstrations, practicals, clinics, early clinical exposure, simulations, video teaching. And they are classified under the three modes. They are the group size, according to group size, according to control, and according to domain. So according to domain, there are three domains are there: the cognitive, affective, and the psychomotor. And they are again classified into the various categories. Another is the domain-based classification, means in the cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. In the cognitive, there are lectures, panel discussions, symposium, teamwork teaching, the project work. In psychomotor, there are simulations, bedside clinics, early clinical exposure, demonstration, and practical. This comes under the psychomotor. And the affective domain, they are the role plays, demonstration, video-based teaching, and the education movies are come under the affective domain. There are control-based classification, means in the teacher control, there are lecture, symposium, demonstration, and basically is under the teacher's control. And there are some are under the learners, the student control. There are the group discussions, project works, self-directed learning, and the problem-based learning. And according to group size-based classification, there are large, small, and individual. In the individual, there are the self-study, counseling, project works, and assignments. In large, just as our routine pattern, there's the classroom teaching, the lectures, panel discussions, team teachings. And in small, there are the group discussion, seminar, workshop, and so on. There are somewhat the newer trends in the teaching learning. There are simulations, role plays, experiential learning, small group teaching, early clinical exposure, integrated teaching, evidence-based teaching, learning, problem-based learning, and a case-based learning. I'm going to introduce some teaching learning methods in this like guest lecture series because the time is constrained and there is requires so much time to elaborate each and every teaching learning method. So this is the past and present situation. Classroom teaching and lectures, and this is the simulation. The simulation-based education is an educational strategy that always allows the student to practice learn his abilities in the real-time scenario. Means that allows students to work in the real-time situation and in the circumstances where they must actively solve the challenges to measure their knowledge and the skill levels. There are so many steps are there, the conceptualizing the simulation, then the creating the immersive environment, integrating the in technologies, simulation assessments, debrief the students, and then evaluate the learning outcome. This is the last step. So we can go through this table. We can say here the basic steps to develop the virtual anatomy and how we can learn and how can make the models to learn the student through that virtual anatomy or through the simulated learning. This is also one of the example. This is also the 3D. We can make some human specimen into 3D models, imaging data into 3D structures, histological images in 3D model tissue cells, and we can make a digital library with the 3D human morphological human structures. This is the huge task, but we can make one by one. So these are the examples of the virtual anatomical models we can see here. These are the models in the anatomical for the anatomical structures. So this is the video actually is playing. Yes, we can see here the tutor is coming up. This is the one anatomical structure, and he's coming. The lever is. This is the simulated based teaching learning according to anatomy, and there is somewhat. This is animated animation for the visual pathways and the various pathways for the we can teach through to the students with the various these animations. This is the simulation based learning. In the role play, there is a group discussion. We can intercultural relationship, communication skill. We can develop these types of skills and group discussion making, the conflict management. We can teach the students with the role plays. For example, in the Rachana Shari, there is the body donation awareness. We teach the students body donation awareness in the classroom teaching. Otherwise, in the role play model, we can learn this body donation awareness program. Otherwise, there is another topic we can say that doctor-patient relationship. So how can doctor communicate with the patient, or how can patient tell her problems to the doctor? This is also we can teach to the student with the role plays. There's the biomedical waste management is the most important topic we have included in this curriculum, that the biomedical waste management, because in the dissection there are so many soft tissues and various things are there. So the biomedical waste management we can teach the students with the role plays. There are various communications teaching learning methods available. There are the experiential learnings, means we are going to learn, we are going to teach with our experiences. So there is the concrete experience, reflective observations, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. So there are various types of experiential learnings. We can see here that means the project-based learning, case-based learning, inquiry-based learning, problem-based learning, clinical experiences. These are so many there are experiential learning examples. And we're going to learn what 2 to 3 experiential learning examples here. The first one is problem-based learning or the case-based learning. So what is the difference between the problem-based and the project-based learning? But the project-based learning is an individual or group, and the problem-based learning is a group. Student define the in the problem-based learning, student defines the problem, and in project-based learning, teacher defines the problem. There are minute differences in the project-based and the problem-based learning. The PBL, the project-based learning, here presents the problem. Student individually defines the problem, and there is a brainstorming session, that idea based on the prior knowledge. Student engage in the independence study, and student shares their information and engage in the activity. There is a group activity. They are sharing their problems and they are sharing their solutions to the problem. And students present their solutions and review what they have learned in this discussion. And student engage in peer and tutor review of the process. And they are in the last step, they are going to share their experiences and share their solutions to the problem they identified before the presentation. So for example, this is the case-based learning. In this scenario, there we can establish a case, then analyze the case, brainstorming, what is the fact finding in the case, then the formulate the problems, disseminate the new findings in the case, shares with our peer, colleague, and tutors, and identify the area of improvement in that the case-based learning. So there is one example. If in the first year classroom, there we can share some examples as there. The retired postmaster having an age of 64 years and came to the Shalaki OPD of some hospital, having the kandu, that is itching in the conky of ear, that is decrease in the hearing capacity and the intermittent karnanad, there's a tinnitus. The ear examination was performed with the help of torch and ear speculum, which revealed the presence of wax. That the postmaster was advised Karnapuran with the Bilwadil was asked to review after the 7 days. So there are so many clues, and student can identify some problems. There, the age factor is there. Then the kandu, the itching of a conky. Then the karna badhirya, the hearing capacity decrease. Intermediate karnanal is there. Ear examination with the torch, speculum, and the presence of wax, and the Karnapuran with the Bilwadil. These are some cues we are getting from the scenario. And there are the learning objective as the level of first year, because if the same scenario is conducted in the final year, there the learning objective is a change. But according to the intellectual or some difficulty level, that these objectives are set for the first year. They describe the structure and the part of the external ear, describe the external acoustics meters, state the use of ear speculum, and describe the applied anatomy of external ear. So these are the learning objectives we can set from the problem from this scenario, and students are going to engage with in the library, in some digital media, to search these answers from the various learning sources, and they can discuss this with their tutors and the peers. This is the second scenario, and there is the cues for that scenario and learning objectives also again. So this is the third scenario related to the same question, and there are some learning objectives regarding the internal ear. So by this PBL or by this case-based learning, students are going to learn the ear structure with the external, middle, and internal ear, not only with the classroom teaching. So student is able to remember these all facts and findings in the present situation when they going to solve the question in the question, or they can remember these all things while doing some examinations or in the final year or in internship. So this is the problem-based learning. In the integrated teaching, there are some topics we can teach students to the various ways. The integrated teaching is divided into two parts. There is the vertical and the horizontal. Vertical means what? In the vertical integrated teaching, there's from the first year, second year, third year, and final year, all the years are involved in that topic. But in the horizontal, there the same year topics are involved. Because of in the first year, it is not possible to involve the final year subjects directly into the discussion. So we can engage the students with the horizontal integrated teaching. But in the same case, in the final year, we can conduct the vertical, because right from the anatomy, right from the physiology, right from the samhita, some basic principles we can use. Some pathological condition in the second year, some drugs from the Dravya Gun, some preparation from the Shastra, and their treatment part in the last year. So this is the for one disease. If we can take the diabetes right from the anatomy, physiology, pathology, and up to the treatment part, we can conduct 3-hour session of integrated teaching, and whole subject, whole disease we can cover in the 3 hours with the vertical integrated teaching. So this is the crux of that integrated teaching. The small group teaching, we can teach students with their needs of the needs with the needs based assessment, with the needs of the learner. Means which student needs which type of learning. Means some students are the clever, some students are potential learners, and rapid learners are there. The various types of learners are available. So with that type of learner, we can engage a student in the small group teaching. The one concept is introduced in this NCISM new curriculum, that is the early clinical exposure, the ECE. So preclinical disciplines connect with the clinical disciplines. Means the first year subjects are connect with the clinical, the final year subjects with that early clinical exposure. Previously, what happens, the first year students are not connected with the clinical topics and some hospital setting. So they are not feeling that, or there is some lacunas with the clinical aspects, and there is the applied aspect of the principles in the our samhitas, or some aspects in the Rachana Charita, or in the applied aspect or applied clinical anatomy. There are some lacking behind that. So there is the pre-clinical disciplines connect with the clinical with this early clinical exposure. The settings where the early clinical exposure can be used in the classroom setting. There are 3 settings in the early clinical exposures: the classroom setting, hospital setting, and community setting. In the classroom setting, the faculty member from the basic science and the clinical subjects can discuss in detail with the student by following manner. That is the bringing actual patient in the classroom. Means if the patient is agree or really it is possible, so bringing actual patient in the classroom in, then the simulated patients can be exercised, or we can come up with the standardized patients. The one of the terminology in the today's is the standardized patient. The normal patient will be teach with all the signs and symptoms, and we can make him as a standardized patient to the student to avoid some infections in the classroom. There are paper-based case scenarios. Previously, we can we just look out at some scenarios we are framing to the some question problems and the solution. So there are the paper-based case scenarios we can explain in the classroom, and a few case description can be given for a role plays also. Means we can show students the problems with the role with the help of the role play as a early clinical exposure. So we are coming with one topic with the various teaching learning strategies. So there is a community setting. We can teach the dinacharya, just rightly Mojit sir described that the dinacharya, ruticharya, inquiry-based teaching. The ekal dravya chikitsa, then the appropriate use of home remedies, ahar vidhi, topics of public health importance such as malaria, TB, diabetes, malnutrition, child and maternal health, rheumatic heart diseases. These are all we can learn with the community setting. The such topics we can take as a discussion in the community settings. The method that we can use for the teaching in the community is the clinical case discussions, survey, or a research project. We can take a research project with some subjects, home visits, observations, or the participation in community health activities. That is the immunization programs, antenatal clinics, and health education program. So student will engage with that that national programs, and they can learn a lot of things from that activities. So location, we can find out the PSCs and community health centers, GP clinics, and the patient homes or the Anganwadi. For example, in the classroom setting, we can say that a man involved in the automobile accident, and this is the scenario is framed with the accident and having a knee injury. So we can frame one scenario in front of the student with the that with this example, we can teach students the knee joint and his structures and ligaments and some applied aspect with that scenario. There is evidence-based teaching. Because the evidence-based teaching is very much important to the student, because the student can because earlier days students are not in favor of Ayurveda, may just coming from the modern sciences and the physics, chemistry, biology, and they are not much more confident about the Ayurveda treatment and Ayurveda medicine and their principles. So evidence-based teaching is supported by the intensive research rather than the subject-to-case discussions and just the classroom teaching. So this is much more important in the today's era. There are some examples in terms of the Rachana Shari. The validation of traumatic effect of Vidur Marma through the modern parameters. And giving here the link for that, because with this research study, we can communicate to the students that our science is not telling anything they are not fruitful or is not possible. By this study, we can say students that the injury to the Vidur Marma creating the deformity, that there is a deepness. So with that examples, we are going to be cultivate some Ayurveda awareness to the student. There is another example with this. There is a pilot study to the test the efficacy of Siraveda Dakshin Kurpa Sandhi in non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. There is some Siddhant, there is a Siraved on the right the Kurpa Sandhi. So this is the one example where they can find out the real life experiences. There is a real research studies, and what the Sushruta mentioned in the Sanhita, and this is actually happens in the current scenario. There is a pilot project on the Siraved at Dakshin Kurpa Sandhi in the liver diseases. So student we can engage in that type of teaching, the evidence-based teaching on the research base. The another way is the blended teaching learning mode. We can engage students with the classroom teaching and some virtual teaching, the simulated learning, some recorded lectures. We can record some experts lecture and we can show in the classroom and discuss on that topics, and educational video clips. We have find out so many video clips on the YouTube related to anatomy and some other parts. We can discuss on that topics also. So we can take some class online quiz during a class. We can arrange one quiz and we can discuss and one by one with the options of the quiz and each and every question. And the virtual expert, we can find out the virtual experts in the classroom in the blended learning mode, and we can solve our queries within the classroom, and from one end to another end, we can help the student to resolve their small problems with the various aspects. And another way again, we can arrange the online guest lectures in the classrooms also. So we can use the blended teaching learning mode in this situation. So thank you very much to the organizers. So I want to wind up my lecture in a few minutes. And this is these are some methods we can teach Rachana Shari effectively to the students. And there are much more scenarios and much more techniques to teach the students. There are dissection modules also available. How can teach the dissection effectively? So thank you very much, organizers, Dr. Pavan sir and Agnihotri sir, the expert here, and other guest speakers. We are here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gaurav. Thank you very much. Very nicely explained. Kindly mail me, WhatsApp me presentations for the society's record. Excellent presentation.
Yes,
both
sir,
of you, Mohan sir and Mohan Joshi ji, and you both have explained very nicely. So Ramdas ji is our family member. He is the commander of the IRES society. With his kind permission, if he kindly permits, I would like to request Dr. Anand Kattiji.
Sure, sir. Sure. You must call him first. I will present last.
Dr. Anandji, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I hope I'm audible. Am I audible,
Yes,
sir?
clear.
Okay.
Yes.
Sabhaya Namaha. Very good evening to everyone. At the outset, I thank the organizers, Mohan Joshi ji, Pavan ji, Agnihotri sir, and everyone connected to this organization for inviting me. Just a minute. Can anyone, am I allowed to share the screen, sir?
You are already allowing, sir.
You are
Okay.
allowed.
Okay.
You are present.
You are sharing already.
I hope
Yes.
this screen is visible. Taking the privilege, thanking the all those who have invited Mohan Joshi ji and others. It's indeed a privilege to talk on this topic before you. I myself titled it as Learning to Learn and Learning to Teach. I mean, learning and teaching is a lifelong activity, and I really again take the privilege of thanking Dr. Mohan Joshi ji, who involved us in framing that syllabus. I was a part of the syllabus committee for Padartha Vijnana, and I can share you that there were more than 25 meetings that we conducted to come up with the present syllabus of Padartha Vijnana. So, and many of the things that are there in my slides are also told by Joshi ji and the other Rachana speaker. I would try to limit my presentations and I will skip some slides. So when we talk about this presentation will basically talk about the basics of ancient methods of learning and teaching, basics of educational methods, and few strategies in Padartha Vijnana teaching. Now, my first objective is connected to this presentation because we are the people who are of the belief that everything that exists in this, everything that is packaged in new way also finds its reference or existence in Indian context or Indian literature. Therefore, in spite of having heard a wonderful lectures from Mohan Joshi ji sir, I could find some of these lectures, these learning methods found in our own literature, which I'll try to present in a nutshell. Basics of educational methods, which already have been touched, and few strategies in Padartha Vijnana teaching. Now, coming back to the education, this is the present day scenario. In some instances, the students are so much pressurized that there is a whole lot of syllabus and they could not connect. The teacher is not able to deal with the subject, and there is a pressure by the people in the top, and this is the scenario. But in real sense, this is what is the definition of education, which was there in the slide of Mohan Joshi sir also, where we want to have a desirable changes in our students on a relatively permanent basis in their behavior. Now, is this happening with Padartha Vijnana? No. Answer is yes as well as no. In some institutions, the teachers are delivering it in a very good manner, but in some institutions, this is not at all being attended to. So much so that we get a feeling, is Padartha Vijnana really needed or not? Is Padartha Vijnana essential for Ayurveda students or not? Even such questions are being asked by the student community. So is the condition of Padartha Vijnana teaching that is happening across the various colleges. Now, when we talk about the ancient methods of teaching, looking into the Vagbhata's, the Arunadatta's commentary, he specifically talks about this should be the learning method. Padataha, tadartataha, prayojanataha, chodyataha, pariharataha, sambandataha, abhideyataha. What he states is, you have to learn each of the word. You have to know the words and their meaning and their utility, prayojana. And the teacher has to create some curiosity among the students. Chodyataha means asking questions and creating doubts and confusions. And then the parihara should be given. You have to give the solutions to all those. Then you have to establish the connections and re-establish the concept. Now, through all these activities that we are learning, we are doing exactly the same. Now, the another tool of learning that we find from our own literature is Vakyashaha, Vakyarthashaha, Arthavayavashaha. So from one word to one sentence to the whole, this is how the Samhitas are read, from Sutra, from the Prakarana, from the Adhyaya, from the Sthana. Thereafter the whole of the Samhitas are being learned. And to learn them, we have the sources in the form of Shabdartha Bodha Vritti, Vakyartha Jnana Hetu, which are also very essential in understanding the whole of the Ayurveda. And Vagbhata also presents with this wonderful way of understanding studying the Samhitas, and they happen to be Patha, to learn, Avabodha, to teach, Anusthana, to put into practice. Now, putting into practice is one of the things which should happen the very moment it is being learned. And as Mohan Joshi sir was mentioning about the Dinacharya, we also have such experiences that once Abhyanga is done, we see the person the next day whether he has come up having done the Abhyanga or not. This is whether he is practicing or not is being tested, and that is the change that we have brought in our own teaching in the curriculum pattern that is being provided to us. Now, some more the methods that were in practice are the Anukarana Punaravritti, the imitation repetition method of learning, Vyakhya Drishtanta Vidhi, that is the explanation and the illustration method, Prashnottara Vidhi, that is the question answer method, Vada Vivada Vidhi, that is the discussion and the debate method, Swadhyaya, that is self-study, then Pradarshana Abhyasa, demonstration practice, which is also now also done. The tour method was there back then. Brahmana Vidhi was the term that was given. Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, there is listening, pondering to know, remembering and putting it into practice again. Katha Kathana, storytelling has been one of the fascinating way of teaching. And Tarka, the logic, the Vyakhyana, the lecture method. These were the methods that are in connection with the teaching learning practices. Adhyana, Adhyapana, Tadvidya Sambhasha, and Tadvidya Sambhasha includes the whole of gamut that that was talked about in terms of small group activities, or in terms of the problem-based learning, or the case-based learning, or the interactive learning. All would be under the gamut of the Tadvidya Sambhasha itself. Now, this is another important factor that is there in our Samhitas. Charaka Acharya mentions that this should be the student-teacher relationship. It should be like this. It should be Agnivat. There should be a fear between the fear in the mind of the student with the teacher. There should be a devotion, like he should see the Deva. Student should see the teacher as Agni, as Deva, as a Raja, as a Pitru, as a Bhartru. So caring, respect, all compact are the characteristic of a teacher, right? And in all the teaching setup, the learner is the focus of all educational activities. Why we are doing all this? Because we have students. If there are no students, if the not receiving end is empty, then all this activity would not have any meaning. So learner is the focus of all educational activity, and the role of teacher are just like as this Subhashita says, Prerakaha Suchakaschaiva Vachako Darshakas Tatha Shikshako Bodhakaschaiva Shadete Guravaha Smritaha. So all these characters, Preraka, Suchaka, Vachaka, Darshaka, Shikshaka, Bodhaka, are the role of the teachers, and in the present scenario, this is the role of a teacher, which are also six in nature: facilitator, role model, information provider, is a resource developer, is a planner, is an assessor, right? As a facilitator, my duty is to facilitate the learning. I have to be the mentor. I have to see students where he is lagging. I have to hold his hand whenever he has any problem, support him. Not just with the intellectual content, maybe with emotional support, maybe with solving his real life problems also. That is also my responsibility. As a role model on the job, I had to be very fit, very agile, very particular with my content and delivery. And teaching role model, then information provider, I have to give the information to my student. I have to give him the clinical and the practical experiences I have to give various, I have to create the resources also. Because when we talk about teaching the students with so many different possibilities, I have to develop my own resources. For example, I have this Manas as my syllabus. I have to teach this through role play. I have to develop the resources for this. I have to act as a study guide producer. I have to go be a course organizer. I have to plan my curriculum, and at the same time, I have to assess whether my student is learning or not. I have to assess in both ways as well, the formative as well as summative. I have to assess when he's studying, during, and when he completes the study. I have to assess him at that time also whether it is the summative assessment that we call. So these are the various roles that the teacher has to perform, and the teacher should be aware of all these roles. Okay, this I will not spend time because these are told by Joshi sir. This is the basic teaching module. Joshi sir talked about the graduate attributes. Now, graduate attributes are what we want to see in a student at the end of curriculum, right? At the end of 5.5 years of learning, he should have all those 9 characters in him. And in sync with those 9 characters, I have to bring them to the subject that I am dealing with. So therefore, I will have my own objectives connected to my subject of Padartha Vijnana. I will assess the entry behavior of my students. And as mentioned in the previous presentation, I select the teaching learning method and give my lecture delivery or whatever. It may be role play, active-based learning, or the case-based learning, and I will evaluate them. So this is the basic teaching module model that is existing. Okay. Now, we knew the fact that this teaching per se, particularly when we talk about the giving lectures, it has become a monotonous, where the attention deficit is visibly seen, where the students fail to focus, and therefore it has got a very limited utility. So therefore, there are the whole learning teaching method itself gets classified into 2. One as teacher-centric learning teaching, whereas the other one is the student-oriented, the student-centric education. So from the left to the right of the screen, we can grade these these method of teaching in that way. Lectures or telling is more a teacher-centric education, whereas the project-based, which is on the extreme end of the right end of the screen, is more student-centric. In between, we have interactive lectures, we have flipped classroom, we have discussion-based learning, we have scenario-based learning, we have case-based learning, we have inquiry-based learning, we have problem-based learning. All these are the various type of the teaching learning methods that are available. I will tell about few with some examples in the subsequent presentation. This is the learning pyramid retention time, which is also told again. This is how we need to convert. This is the problem that we face with, particularly with Padartha Vijnana. None of the things that they learn with Dravya Guna Karma or Pratyaksha Adi Pramanas, they will convert them into long-term memory. Converting what they have learned today into long-term memory is certainly a challenging one, which the present curriculum effectively addresses this challenge and makes it useful. And the domains of education were also discussed, which are in the Upanishadic way of learning are termed as Aditi, Bodha, Acharana, Pracharana. Aditi refers to knowledge, Bodha refers to realization, the internalization, practice and preaching are the Acharana and Pracharana. So next 3 are the various domains which Mohan Joshi sir has already mentioned. Cognitive, which is only knowledge related domain, we learn things, and it all depends on these things only. We learn. Just for example, I want to see a blood pressure of a patient, I learn a theory of blood pressure, I learn a theory of how it should be measured. Then I see someone doing it, I do it, then I'll decide at such a certain situation whether I should do it or not. This is the cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affective domain simplified with simple example. right? I have to learn blood pressure measuring. I will learn the theory of it, which is in the cognitive domain. I will learn the skills of doing it, which is the psychomotor domain or the skill domain. And I will decide when I'll have to see it, whether I need to see the blood pressure for this patient or I can skip for this patient. It's belonging to the affective domain. Now, adult learners are different than the pediatric age group. This was also discussed by Mohan Joshi sir. But then there is a challenge. Even though by age they are adult when they come to Ayurveda, but they are novice to the subject of Ayurveda. When it comes to, when they go to the, for example, if they go and learn the MBBS, modern medical science, they can easily connect what they have learned in their high school and the 11th and 12th to their subjects. So therefore, the adult learner, actually, all these characters would be fitting more to those students. And for Ayurveda students, even though by virtue of their age, they are adults, they will be absolutely, I have to teach my students the ABCD of Ayurveda. I have to teach him what is Dravya, what is Guna, what is Karma. So therefore, even though these adult learners are there, they are self-directed learners, they are practical and result-oriented, they actually are slow learners, but very integrative in their knowledge. They are less open-minded. This is a problem that I see. They are less open-minded, and when I say that rasas are 6, they come with a background that they have learned taste only 4. They show resistance to these 2. When I say that Jala is Madhura and Rasa, they have come up with a knowledge that water is tasteless. They resist to accept this. So these are the practical challenges that we face, and we have to counter all these with our own support of our own education methods as well as our own science. And they use their personal experience as resources, and they expect and they want competency and mastery. These are the traits of adult learners, which is slightly difficult for Ayurveda students, because we know our students are adults, but we have to sort of blend these pedagogy with andragogy when we deal with the Ayurveda students. Pedagogy is dealing with the students of the pediatric age group, and andragogy talks about the adult learning techniques. So we have to bring a blend of all these and give our students the best possible experiences as well as learning is concerned. And some myths that are connected to the Padartha Vijnana itself, this has been because of the various loopholes in the syllabus, in the delivery system, in the students' attitude. This is generally general statements. Most annoying and perhaps the toughest subject everyone says is because they fail to connect it. And it is not or less important is another statement that we get to see it, which is also untrue, because we are through Padartha Vijnana and Samhita, we are basically laying the foundation on which the applied aspects of various the branches of Ayurveda, Akaya, Chikitsa, Shalya, Shalakya will stand. And it has no practical utility, which is also ably countered by the present syllabus. We have added so much of practical content in our syllabus, and it is only philosophical study is another opinion that we get to see it, because there is some amount of philosophy in learning the Padartha Vijnana. And there is this is another statement that I get to see, can be taught by anyone. This was there maybe around 10-20 years back, but the things are not the same as they are. There are specially trained people who are trained to teach the Padartha Vijnana and should be taught by them only. And is isolated subject, because no clinician takes any references or make any inferences connected to the Padartha Vijnana. And so therefore the students go to such an extent they fail to connect this subject itself to the Ayurveda. So such has been some of the observations. And learning Padartha Vijnana makes us rigid and less accommodative is another opinion that we get to see, which is also not true, because through the Padartha Vijnana we will have a word view, and word view will be different, because our whatever be the darshana, they're all are accommodative. They give respect to the other opinion. We don't have to have a conflict between Satkaryavada and the Satkaryavada. We don't have to have a conflict between Arambhavada and the Satkaryavada and so on and so forth. So these are some of the myths that the present syllabus is ably taking care of and nullifying them. So why Padartha Vijnana? Since all of these are teachers, I don't have to spend time on this slide also. Basically, it is just like the biology is essential for modern medical science, so is the Padartha Vijnana for Ayurveda curriculum. It tries to accustom us to the science that we are learning with the word, with the vocabulary, all gets connected to Ayurveda through the Padartha Vijnana itself, because some of the philosophical concepts, some of the concepts that are there in Darshana are very fundamental principles of Ayurveda. Because we talk about Loka Purusha Samavida Siddhanta, we find it in the philosophies, and the applied aspect we find in Charaka Samhita. And some philosophical concepts are applied health principles in Ayurveda. For example, the concept of dukkha for a philosopher is different. For us, dukkha means, Sushruta says, Dushta Srotas, Durdusthani Khani. Du refers to Dushta, Kha refers to Srotas. So Dushta Srotas is our Vyadhi. So Dukkha becomes Vyadhi for us. So some philosophical concepts are directly the applied health principles in Ayurveda. And we have to learn Padartha Vijnana for practical use of all fundamental principles, for Padartha Jnana, for Pramana Jnana, for Prakriya Jnana, because these are the things. We have Padartha in the form of Vata Pitta Kapha, we have Lakshanas being manifested, we see them through the Pramanas, and we have to understand what is going within the body to present these Lakshanas, and that is Prakriya Jnana, and this is the basic tenet of which is we get from the study of Padartha Vijnana itself. And for the ease of understanding Chikitsa Siddhanta, the Padartha Vijnana, the concepts become important. Just for the example, when you talk about Guru Chatarpanam as Chikitsa Siddhanta for Sthaulya, what is Guru? What are the different dimensions of Guru? What is Guru from the philosophical perspective? Which is more of physical in nature? Whereas what is Guru from the Hemadri's perception? That's where the Chikitsa Siddhanta gets connected. All these we have to learn from the Padartha Vijnana itself. For knowing, then obviously for Yathartha Jnana, for the real knowledge of Ayurveda, to become a Pranabhisara Vaidya, we need to connect ourselves to the Padartha Vijnana. So this Mohan Joshi sir already has narrated, so I will not talk about these graduate attributes. Now, course outcomes. Now, what in sync, in connection with the graduate attributes, which are connected to the program outcome of the Ayurveda. So the course outcome of Padartha Vijnana will be, at the end of study of Padartha Vijnana, the student should be in a position to illustrate the scope and utility of Ayurveda, should be able to explain the philosophical foundation of Ayurveda, the principles of Darshana along with their similarities and relevance in Ayurveda, should be able to analyze and interpret the Padartha Prameya in Darshana and Ayurveda, recognize their applications in Ayurveda, should be able to distinguish, analyze and apply concept of Pramana Shastra, the epistemology in Darshana and Ayurveda, demonstrate their applications in Ayurveda, should be able to analyze and apply the concept of Karya-Karana Bhava in Ayurveda. This is what we expect at the end of 1.5 years of study of Padartha Vijnana, that each student should be able to. This is our course outcome. The course here is Padartha Vijnana. And with this, the course outcome, we have syllabus, and each syllabus will have specific objectives, which will be dealt through these lecture and non-lecture hours. And one fascinating thing that has been done this time is non-lecture hours. The non-lectures, because the learning is more appreciated, will be more effective if it is joyful, if the participatory learning is there, if the student is active in learning activities. So therefore, the non-lecture hours are almost double the lecture hours in all the subjects of first year curriculum. So the non-lecture hours can be the case studies, can be the tutorials, can be the various presentations, the research projects. I'll come to that with some example. Problem-based learning is an example. Case-based learning, we bring the clinical cases, or we take the students to the hospital setup itself, where we teach them the very basics of Padartha Vijnana. We're not talking, when we talk about even in case-based learning, it's not, we have a case, but we try to see the Guru Guna, we try to see the Vata as a Dravya, we try to see the karma that is happening. So our connection with these case-based learning would be the Dravya Guna Karma Samanya Vishesha Samvaya, the various pramanas themselves itself, through which we learn the human body. We have field work, we take our students to our own herb garden, etc., to do some activities. Flipped classroom is, as was told, we give the resources. For example, today I have to teach on the Akasha Mahabhuta. I will tell my students to each resource where the information of Akasha is available, ask them to read. And next day, the students will come. And next day, there will be a discussion and question answer session only that is happening. This would be known as a flipped classroom. Early clinical exposure experiences already has been explained. I have to see the guna of vata in a patient. The vriddhi lakshana I have to see in a patient. I have to see it in the early clinical experiences itself. Game-based learning, Mohan Joshi sir already has said, but the puzzles and crosswords are something that I will take one or the two examples. So these are the non-lecture hours which are adding, really making the teaching learning experience a wonderful experience for even teachers as well as the learners. The learners are more joyful. One-on-one personal connection between a teacher and a student is more happening through these activities. The teacher is kept busy. Otherwise, in many colleges, it so happens that they have 1 hour teaching and rest of the time they don't have any other work, with due respect to those who are seriously having other assignments. But if through these non-lecture hours, the students are kept busy, the students are kept focused, as well as the teachers. The teachers are the teacher focus, the teacher commitment is also very much essential, very highly needed for implementing all these non-lecture hour of dealing the subject. And this also Mohan Joshi sir has said, syllabus gets divided into must know, desirable to know, and nice to know. All the definitions fall in the category of must know. All the definitions, the classification, it will be in the domain of must know itself. And there are desirable, say for example, like the particular concept has got 10 applications. If the students remembers 8, we expect we are okay with that. And if the students know something beyond what is there in the text, that would be nice to know. Level of study, the Miller's pyramid is also explained. Okay. Now, in activity-based learning, what has been done with reference to Padartha Vijnana is the real-life situations have been brought. For example, there is a syllabus point called as Ayurveda Nirupana, where a teacher is expected to teach the student what is Ayurveda. Now, at the end of this syllabus, we ask the student to conduct a survey type of activity among their own parents, siblings, brothers and sisters, ask them what is Ayurveda and record their answers and give your opinion. As a student, you have learned what is Ayurveda, correct them if they are wrong, and if they are right, you have to write it as it is. So you have to bring a record of it. It goes in as an activity, and this will be an activity-based learning. And through this, the students are really learning what is it. And through this, the parents of the students and their siblings are also getting connected to the Ayurveda itself. And we conduct many surveys, particularly to know the Sukhayu, Hitayu, Lakshana. We teach them, and we conduct surveys, and we use the very same students. One will be asking questions to the other, questions of the Hitayu Lakshana, the Sukhayu Lakshana. They'll be noted, and they will be coming to us with their answers. And this next activity is the Panchabhotika Sanghatana. When we talk about any dravyas, we talk about the Prithvi, Ap, Mahabhuta, Aditya, etc. So from the real life situations, from the surrounding dravyas, we give them the examples and ask them. For example, I take an apple, identify the Pancha Mahabhuta in it. So the students would come that the outer layer is hard, and so it is the Prithvi in it. So he will try to relate the juice to the up Sanghatana. There is an enzymatic activity. When it was unripe, it was sour. When it is ripe, it is sweet. So he's connecting it to the Agni concept, and there is hollowness within, and there is the Avakasha, the Akasha, which may be occupied with Vayu. So this is how the real life examples, the surrounding dravyas will be taken to demonstrate the Panchabhautika Sangatana of any dravya. And in sync with the same, the dravya guna karma will be learnt. We take some dravya, for example, the ahara dravya, and we ask the student, having taught them the guna dravya concept, we will ask them to identify the guna in them. The students will have to do it. He has to apply his mind. He has to remember the definition of each of those gunas, and he has to read the literature also to come up with these answers. So he will be connecting the dravya to the guna, dravya to the karma in real life situations. And of course, the Atma Mana will also be learned or the taught through the real life experiences, like when he becomes happy, when he becomes sad, what are his experiences that has led him to the deepest sorrow. So this can be even happen with the real life or other case-based studies, where we talk about the patients of depression, etc., will be brought in front of the students. So this is how the real life situations and experiences will be used to teach these concepts. And Panchavayava Vakya, Mohan Joshi sir gave a scribble as an example, but we connect it through what they have done in their chemistry lab. In their 11th and 12th, they have done some practicals in their physics lab, chemistry lab. We connect them to what is the hetu, what is the pratijna, what is the udaharana, what is upanaya, what is nigamana in that proforma that they have filled up. So Panchavaya Vakya gets connected to this. Abhava, we will have real life experiences from their own or our own experiences, they will be taught. And all this becomes a part of activity-based learning. Now, PBL, the previous presenter, in fact, in detail told about the PBL. PBL is problem-based learning, where we have a problem in hand, the student has to solve it. And in problem-based learning, it is not the solution that is important. To come to a solution, what all reading that he is doing becomes important. That is, he will be more resourceful, he will be more knowledgeable, because he would have read so much content related to that problem. So read the problem, brainstorm, hypothesis. This is a sequence that is happening when it comes to the problem-based learning. But let me put a simple problem before you. Okay, this is, I connect this to the first syllabus point of Padartha Vijnana itself. Mr. John Smith says that Ayurveda is not scientific. He says it is mere compilation of some observation made by the ancient acharyas. Now, this is a statement that I am putting forth in front of my students. And they have to deal with this situation, and they have to come up and they have to see this as a problem and solve it. And for this, they have to know what is Ayurveda, they have to know what is scientific, they have to know what is observation, they have to know what is ancient acharyas, they have to connect it to what what Ayurveda is all about, that they have been taught prior to this problem-based learning, and they will come with a conclusion that this Mr. XYZ observation is inaccurate. So this is how the problem-based learning will be taken forward. This is an example, is applicable to many such concepts in the Padartha Vijnana. And puzzles is another way. We have done wonderful works, particularly this is when they came just new to it was in the orientation program that this was done. But other than this, to understand, to teach Tantra, many puzzles are being used, crosswords are being used. So puzzle, crossword, game-based learning is a wonderful way of teaching. And this is another thing that we have done, pramana in research, scope of pramana in research, because each of the pramana, be it aptopadesha, pratyaksha, anumana, yukti, in the syllabus, one point says that its utility in research. Now, how can this be done? This is other than the classroom teaching. What we can do is we have to handle it as an activity-based learning. So what we did is we made a small group of 8 to 10 students and allotted 1 to 2 research articles, one with a worksheet. Now, the research articles that we gave were not complicated. Just to give you an example of research work that we allotted, the effect of food on body weight during the festivals. Now, this is a small research work that is published. That is, in Indian scenario, it is only it is happening because India is the only country which has got so many festivals. So the effect of food during the festivals on body weight. So small research is a 2-page research article which we circulated among the students and asked them to connect it to the various pramanas, and we gave the activities. Aim is identify the utility of different components of pramana in the given article. You have to write the article. And what we gave as a worksheet was they have to type this is given, aptopadesha. Now, what content in that paper was aptopadesha? They have to write what is textual information about aptopadesha. And in aptopadesha also, if there are any bifurcations, in pratyaksha also there will be bifurcation that they have to connect it. In anumana, whether it is purvat anumana, they have to identify it and connect it and write it. So this is upamana. Any other similes, any other examples are there in that article, they have to write it. So this is an activity which really brings the applied aspects of the pramanas in the field of research that will be learned by the first year students itself. So these are some of the strategies that are there in the present curriculum of Padartha Vijnana, which I hope will be taken, received very well. I know that it has been received very well by all the teaching community throughout the India, and we will see some wonderful changes within our own students in the near future, so that in spite of such a thrust given by the Honorable Government of India, we still see more than 70% of our graduates are going in for cross practicing. Hope that with this new way of learning and teaching, the new changes that we have brought in the curriculum, hope that our students stick to the science that they have learned, they are learning, and they will learn Ayurveda to practice Ayurveda itself. With this, I just want to say that this new teaching method, if executed, why not if it is executed meticulously, would connect the students to the Padartha Vijnana to the Ayurveda, and to create an efficient Prana Visara Ayurveda Vaidya. So with this, I thank the organizers. I thank Dr. Mohan Joshi ji, Pavan Kumar ji, Agnihotri ji, Ramdas ji, and everyone who has gathered here for patient hearing. If there are any questions, we'll take the questions. Otherwise, I'm done with the presentation. Thank you so much.
Very great, very nice lecture. Beautiful. I'm really grateful to Mohan Joshi ji and Ramdas ji, but due to them, this webinar is possible today. Really overwhelmed responses with short notice. Thank you very much, both all of you, for enlightening our brain, no doubt. So now I would like to request Dr. Ramdas ji, Dr. Ramdas PV from Kollam. Welcome, Doctor.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Clear.
Yes. I think The purpose of the seminar is already completed. All the speakers, earlier speakers, have given what really the latest syllabus and why that syllabus is coined in this way. What is the difference between the previous syllabus and the curriculum that which is prepared now? What is the aim of that? These all things are very clearly and according to each subject, how they are working out in their colleges and how it is being benefited is very beautifully explained. So whatever be the Pavan Kumar sir, this topic, that is actually completed by the 3 speakers. Okay, so my role is very small role. I'll just give how Sanskrit can do something in this. So how can you make Sanskrit teaching interested as well as beneficial for making a good doctor, researcher, and a teacher? If you speak, you can find out all this process were taken place in earlier time. Earlier time means if you take Vedas to Puranas and Idihasas, if you take Vedas, there was instruction, the pupils simply learned it. Srutva sarvam padidavantaha prasnanina asid. There was no question why you are teaching me. What is the benefit of that? It was not there in the beginning. So it was very clear. You give the knowledge, they accept it, stored in the brain, it will be applied automatically. But when the Upanishad Kala comes, Kena Upanishad is the beginning. There from the pupils started asking question. Why? These questions have been started. Gradually, the time to time, what happened means the pupils started asking, why should we learn this? Why should we do this? Why should we speak like this? All these questions started coming. So it is the beginning of finding out new methodologies to be introduced in the curriculum level, as well as teaching method level, as well as the scientific methods. And moreover, Ayurveda was taught completely a textbook. If anybody is learning Ashtanga Hridaya, the whole Ashtanga Hridaya will be asked to by heart by the student in the beginning. There is no explanation, nothing was there. First, Vyakarana will be taught, then Nyaya will be taught, then the Samhita will be taught, and there is no explanation, nothing. Even the minimum meaning also they will not give. But afterwards, from the brain, the student pick up everything and learn. This was the method of learning. Even in Kerala, the Ayurvedic families, there were 8 families. They used to teach this method. Everyone is scholars in Sanskrit grammar, Nyaya Visheshika, as well as Mimamsa, all the Shad Darshanas, and then only they will learn the Ashtanga Hridaya by heart. So this is the methodology. So there was no question, so no problem. But Kalo Himahan, the time is very powerful. Time brought a lot of changes. The whole Ayurvedic learning has to be completed within 5.5 years. The students are coming from different areas. The basic learning purpose is entirely different. They are very much new to Ayurveda. So we have to find out new methodologies, new equipments, new tools to make them interested in learning. This is the beginning of this research comes. And now we are on the path with the support of the great scholars who work behind this syllabus. Mine is actually, what is the role of learning Nirukti in Sanskrit? Kati sir told that Padartha is very important. Actually, what is the meaning of Padartha? Padasya padayoho padanam va artaha padartha. Pade kim vishayaha idi jnanam. Kaha vishayaha asmin pade jnatavyaha. From that word, what is the subject matter we have to understand? That is actually padartha. It is not meaning of the word. What is the subject we must understand from a word? What is the vishaya in that word? So for that, you need to have the learning of Nirukti. Otherwise, it is not possible. And Madhura, how it is? Madhu, Mananad Jnayate iti Madhura. See, it making Visheshena Jnayate. It is not directly being understood. When you take the Madhu, you get some effect in you, then you are understanding that, okay, this is a typical rasa in that. So such a way, there are Niruktis for each word. If you go deeper to the word, you can get really what is the subject matter in that. There is a quotation from Dhana Vishtambini Ruksha Tarpini Legani Guru. This is actually Dhana is the Krida Anna Varga in Ashtanga Hridaya. That is a sloka. So it Dhana, Dhiyante idi Dhana is the Nirukti. Dha Dhatu is generally Dharana Poshana Yoga. That means the Krita Anna Varga is not going to do the work. karma in you, it is going to hold your health as well as going to make poshana in your body. That itself is sufficient. You can find out it should be guru and etc. And its another properties are vishtambini. It causes vishtamba. Vishtambhyate anaya. Visheshena shtambhyate. That is actually ruksha. Rukshayate idi. There you can see vishtambini there, karanelyut. Rukshayati, there is kartra, achupratya, ajadi, achupratya. So for rukshana karma, this dana has got kartrutva. But for vishtambana karma, it is an instrumental cause, karanelyut. For tarpana also, it is a karanelyut. It is doing the karana. It is only a instrumental cause for that one. That's why karmani lyutu pratyaya. Lekhani also, karanelyut actually. Likhyate anaya iti lekhana. So like this, each word can be go into the deeper if we study the nirukti. It has to be taught in the beginning. Vagadi gandhaneyoho, if you teach for vata, va is gati, automatically you understand chalatva. If chalatva is there, it should be very laku. Automatically you understand laku. Then which is the factor is for the gurutva. Apya content is rutva. So apya should not be there. So ruksha, you see, you can connect it in such a beautiful manner. And it does the gantana karma. If anything has to do the piercing karma, it should be sukshma. You see what more you want? From that one word, vagadi gandhana yogo, you can give the complete idea of the vada. So nirukti is one of the very important factor, has to be taught to the students. This is the advantage of learning nirukti. Through nirukti, you can enlighten interest. Next one is correct words you are using for getting the proper karma or karana or whatever it may be the role there. Bhakshayed danta pavanam or bhakshayed danta dhavanam. Why bhakshayed is used? Immediately you have to understand that bhaksha is a process. Dravyedara adha karanam. That means any dravya, that which is not drava. So you have to chew it. So bhakshayed danta pavanam means you have to chew that danta pavana brush. For that, they use the verb bhakshayed. Next, same meaning only. Na adyad jirnamavadu. There you can find out he used the word adyad. Adu bhakshay is the meaning. Dhatu. There also he used a suitable word to denote that it is not simply moving the brush. It is chewing and moving the brush. Say the suitable, very suitable words. Like this, if you take and if you explain to the students, they will concentrate on that subject matter. Now, how the avyayapadas? There are so many avyayapadas in that one. Eva is there. Eva, it is there. It is Niyogatantra Yukti. There are so many. Just an example. Tu is the word I have taken. Ardhashaktya nishevyastu bhaladis nikta bhojivik. Shita kaleva sandecha mandameva tadonyada. It is vyayama. After vyayama's benefit, after vadavittamayi contraindication, this sloga is true. Then where to put that tu? It is avadharana, because avadharana means you are telling a series of subject. Anything that which change from that, if you wanted to tell, then the tu avyaya is being used. So where to put this tu pratyaya? Immediately few students have done Shitagale vasande balivihi snigdhabodhivihi ardhashaktiya nishevyaha. Anyada tu they used. It is very correct, it can be used. But now you think in another way. First they told the complete benefit of vyayama. Then they told contraindication. Remaining all dinacharya, benefit, contraindication. But after that a condition is being told here. So vyayamaha tu balibihi snigdhabhojivihi shitagale vasante cha ardhashaktiya nishevya. If you use also, that word has got, because vyayama has to be done only half of that. That importance will be given for ardhashaktiya nishevya. Otherwise, it will give only importance for the kala. Next one, it is clear. Tadaha anyada tadaha mandameva cha. It is there already. So no problem. You can add it. So tu, if you put over there, the importance will be given for ardhashaktiya. Means the very important instruction is you should not do more than ardhashakti vyayama. It is not the other things are. Other things are only for ardhashakti vyayama conditions. So like this, you can make the students think over there. If you see even the Vyakhyana, he put Anyadatu. But if you add this in this way, you see the sense how it is changing. Like this new things. You can, when I put this immediately, children told that Anyadatu, sir, because they have gone through the Arunadatta Vyakhyana. There is Anyadatu is there. Then I told, if you think in this way, what will happen? Then they started reciting all those slogas all told like this. But in here itself, it is very clearly told that it should be done only Ardha Shakti. So like this, you can develop the interest in concentrating on the language. That means whatever we call it as Padartha, because Padartha is nothing but the technical terminologies you are explaining to make understand the subject matter, that which is existing in front of us. That sense, if you take, this is the way so many Avyavadas you can use. Niyoga Tantra Yukti, wherever it comes, Tabhya Pradya will be there, Eva will be there. So you find out and just put a word to them, immediately they will search whether it is there or not. Next one is Vigraha Vakyam. How the Vigraha Vakya can be. Tambhulam Kshatavittasara Ukshot Kuvida Jakshusha. There you can find out the Vyakhyanas. Kshatascha, Pittasrascha, Rukshascha, Utkuvisha Chakshusascha. Tesham is the Vigraha Vakya given. Suppose you are taking in this way. Kshatahacha, Pittasrahacha, Rukshot-Kubida Chakshushahacha. Single word if you take. Rukshena, Utkubida, Utkupite Chakshumshi, Yasya Saha. You can take Vigraha Vakya. That means because of the Ruksha, the Chakshus is Utkubida. You see, and another meaning you are deriving out of it. Sometimes it may be useful for the practical purposes. It may not be the whole body Ruksha, it may be only eye Ruksha. That may be the reason for the Utkuvidatva of the eye. Even such thoughts can be developed in the children by putting the Vigraha Vakya in a different sense to the children. This all will make interest in the language learning in further classes. Sometimes it may lead to good researches in future also. And it may be helpful for the clinicians, there is no doubt. Like this, if we put just a seed in the first year, it can work out a lot. And all the tools that which we are using depends upon the personality of the child. We have to study the student first, whether he is interested in computer. So put the work in computer. The other person is interested in making essays and etc. Ask him to write and find it out. Another person may be making objective question and enjoying. So put that assignment, same assignment for different students, different way you can give. According to his capacity, interest, he will involve in that one. This is the way we can adopt it. Next one is just, I am completing because very short time, a lot of time. Joshi's presentation was filled with everything, and next to filled the gap of the topic. And mine is only how Sanskrit can do something in Ayurveda. Next one, Anvaya and the meaning. How, where, how it is. You see, Nidrayaha Moha Murthakshi Gaurav Alasya Jrumpika Angamardhascha Tat Preshta Swapnaha Sambahananija is the word. When you go to the Anvaya, you know that Nigrahad is in the previous sloka. You will take it. It is Yoga Tantra Yukti. You have taken over there. Moha Murdakshi Gaurava Alasya Jurumbikaha Angamardahacha Jayande. You have to go for Vakya Shesha Tantra Yukti. You are adding that Jayande over there. You have completed. Tatra Swapnaha Ishtaha. Ishtaha is the Kriyavadaha. You are using Ishtaha as the Kriyavadaha. So Swapnaha Ishtaha. The most favorite treatment is Swapna. Make him sleep. That's all. Next is Samvahananicha. That is Samuchaya Tantra Yukti. Samvahananicha. Samvahanani, know that Mrudu Mardhanani. So like that, anything you can add along with that one. For that, that Chagara is. So you see Samuchaya, you can add whatever it is suitable to that Samvahanani. Anvaya Krama makes lot of thinking for the Vaidya clinician, researcher also. For a learner also. So like this, thoughts can be developed in Sanskrit to develop the interest in Sanskrit. Olden days, it was only Lekusiddhanta ego energy, Igahastani, Yanusyada Samhidaya Mutaye, Ikaha Edi Shashti. Like this, they taught, but they do not know where to apply, what to apply, and what is the purpose of that, and etc. That may be the reason student hated. hate the Sanskrit in the beginning. But I feel if we are going like this, the interest in the Sanskrit can be inculcated and it will be helpful for many, many people. Now, almost over, I think 2 or 3 slides, I think. Yeah, last slide. Okay. So, Pavan Kumar sir, last slide. Okay. Here, contextual meaning and relevance of the synonyms. You know that Bheshajakshavide Patyamahare Brahmanam Krama, there is a sloka in Roga Anutpadaniyam Adhyaya at the end slokas. After telling these are the problems, these are the treatment has to be given, and either you have to Shodhana, you have to do Shodhana. If you do, it will not be repeated. After that, one sloka comes Bheshajakshavide. There is a word he used, Bheshaja. He did not use Aushada. He did not use Shodhana, but he used the word Bheshaja. Bheshaja means Vishaja, anything that which is used by Bishad. So it can include Shodhana, it can include the Shamana Chikilsa, it can include the all the activities that which a Bishad does. So it is not only for Aushada alone, that means Shamana Chikilsa alone. Even you do the Shodhana also, the person may be becoming Shabida. If you are reading Aushada also, the person may be becoming Shabida. In all conditions, you are supposed to go handle the case with Ahara. So Bheshaja, the terminology, why he has chosen. Question can be arised in the mind and go on that one. Again, the same only. Shali Shattiga Goduma Mudgamam Sagradivi Hridya Devana Bhaishya Samyogat Ruji Bhakti Dehi Sabhyangu Dvartana Snana Niruha Sneha Vastabi is the slogan. He used the word one Kramat. Generally, Kramat means respectively. Which one we have to take here respectively, that question will come. So what really the Krama he meant that one? Where the Krama has to be, whether the words used in this sloka has to be used or the things that which is used, on what basis it has to be used, the question comes. So here it is very clear that the patient is Chabida, it is because of his tiredness. So you have to go for what is the condition of the patient. So Kramada has to be connected with Phala Anala Adi Anusarena. That is the meaning of Kramena. So here the Kramena is not the things here, it is depends upon the patient's condition. You check it, what is Bala, what is Anala. Accordingly, you apply these things. There arises a question, sir, whether we have to do Abhyanga, Udvartana, Snana, Niruha, Sneha and Basti continuously, because it is Dvandva Samasa. All this has to be done or not. A question has been arised by a student. Then the answer was very clear. The Kramadi is told. So if you apply all the things, if the person does not have the Bala, then he will not be surviving. So that is the reason he used the word Kramad in this sloka. What is the relevance of that word in this sloka? It is that one. Next, Abhyangam Udvardhanam Snanam cha Niruha Sneha Vastayaha cha. Whether they are only individual karmas or along with the food, it has to be done. Of course, because Sa Abhyanga is the word. Sa Abhyanga, if you use, all this will come in Dundu Samasa. Sa will be Sahida for all this together. So when you are giving Ahara, you must coordinate this karmas also along with that one, considering the Bala and Anala of the patient. See, this much you can explain from this sloga to a student. When he gets new slogas, he will be thinking more and more over there. There he will go behind the Nirukti, he will go behind the Anvaya, he will be going with the Vigraha Vakya. So these all are practically very clearly, if you give some few words in first year, 1.5 years are there. If anybody do that one, automatically the interest in learning Sanskrit will be inculcated, as well as certainly the benefit of learning Sanskrit will be really there for a clinician, researcher, as well as an academician. Sanskrit knowledge is a must. Anyhow, this committee has given very good syllabus, very good teaching methodology also. I think all Sanskrit teachers in all over India are studying. We have created a group. They are all trying their level best. I hope Sanskrit will be accepted by the students, and certainly the syllabus will be accepted by the students, and the benefit will be certainly coming out. Pavan Kumar sir, I think I did not take much time. I stick with the time because I am very happy that grade 3 scholars have presented today's topic. Very nice. Okay. Thank you. Good night. Namaskar.
Hari Om, Hari Om. I was the student today. Really, I am considering myself as a student. The ocean of the knowledge cannot be limited in the time. You all are Mahakal. How can I limit yourself into the limits of Kal? So you are all Mahakal. Really, salute to you all. Salute to you all. New syllabus will be definitely encouraging to students also, and the boredom will be away from the student, and he will be much more learning in comparison to the previous syllabus. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Today, the tsunami of knowledge, not ocean only, tsunami of knowledge I have received. My brain is just opened every receptor of its, really every nerve. Thank you very much. Mohanji, thank you. Now I would like to request Dr. Sakat Basu from Canada. Dr. Sakat Basuji from Canada. Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Hari.
Hello, Professor Sharma. Hope you are doing well.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this August stage, and we had a wonderful discussion throughout. I had to go out for attending a PhD committee meeting in between, but I'm back. And thanks to all the speakers too, because they enlightened me. I learned a lot from them. And I'm going to finish it up. Possibly I'm the last speaker. I'm going to finish it up with a different perspective of the new education policy, with which I have been associated at various levels, but mostly with the tertiary level of education, mostly with the university and the college level of education. But would like to highlight and share some of my thoughts that that came across my mind as we were going through this policy formulation for quite some time. The biggest problem or challenge with respect to Indian education, we usually criticize the colleges and the universities that we do not have the infrastructure to compete, that India cannot compete with countries abroad. But I don't think necessarily that is where the problem is. I think way more concentration and focus needs to be done at the school level. Throughout my long stay in various Western countries, I have never come across one single country that I can name you that has 200 academic educational boards for the school. So there is the CBSE, ICSE, NCRT, whatnot, and then hundreds and hundreds of those madrasas, what you call senior madrasa, junior madrasa, then madhyamik and higher secondary boards across all the states and union territories, which follow various different syllabus curriculum for their students. Now, this is actually a very, very challenging platform for any country to rule. Think about, in India, we have only one UGC and one AICTE that regulates, the science and technology and the higher education part in their perspective. Think about if we had 10 different UGCs and 10 different AICTE regulating this educational system. The window of education has been so multiple divided because it's a linguistically different country, so much huge population. I have a serious doubt that how much this new education policy, although which is very good, I have been involved in designing a part of that, but how far this could be implemented across the country is going to be a very, very big challenge. Because whenever, we are all averse to changes. We do not like changes. And because of the political furor of this country, anytime any changes that you bring about, whether it is good or bad, it takes a very dark political color across the country. Now, there are several states which has been voicing their concern about this education policy, and many of the criteria or parameters that has been adopted within this new education policy. Many are afraid that this will reduce the intensity of their state-based education system and make it a central education system. But truly speaking, what I see is a very challenging part is that if it is a one country, we need to have at least to some extent a one education system. If Jammu and Kashmir is following a completely different track, and southern Indian states have a different education system, Eastern India has a different one, Central India has a different one. Now, the core sufferers are not politicians, the core sufferers are not the board executives, the core sufferer, I would say not even the students, the core sufferer is the country. Because this is the school education, to my mind, is the most important education that an individual receives in his entire life. it makes and breaks the nation. So if we are so divided on the pattern, the format, and the formulation of the policies for school level education, we are never going to see significant successes at the university and the college levels. Because when the students are coming and entering the college and university, they have already spent 10, 12 years of their life, or even more, from the pre-nursery to up to standard 12, going through a bizarre education system coming from whichever part of India they are representing. And then there is this intense competition from the central boards. And if you look into all the competitive exams that go out throughout this country, whether it is civil services or economic services or national eligibility test or NEET or whatever that you can think about, they are more aligned to this central university curriculum or program. So a big section of students who are not associated with these boards or come from the very much indigenous boards, educational boards, or whether it is secondary or higher secondary, from India, actually losing out in competition, losing out in quality of education. And there is no regulation proper and restriction in formulating syllabus, in having a parity among different states, in having a somewhat similar syllabus or curriculum for school students. So in Assam, someone at standard 2 is learning completely different from someone who is learning in Delhi. Or in southern India, someone at standard 8 is completely different or cut off from someone who is studying the same class in Nagaland. Is not something that is going to be very good for this country. So I always have been suggesting the government, rather than highlighting too much on developing infrastructures for the universities and colleges, because I don't think necessarily that Indian universities and colleges have very poor infrastructure, or the CSIR laboratories and other institutes across the country is very bad. It's not the case. To my mind, the school education system needs really a revamp. And if the new education policy is implemented across the country, at least say around with 50 to 60% of its recommendations are included in the various board, it is going to help the country. It is going to help the academic structure of the nation, help in building up the students to come into a common competition and comes to a common platform when they are judged equally. Today, a student from Bengal who has completed standard 12 and someone from Noida, New Delhi or Rajasthan who has gone through CBSE, ICSE, I can challenge you, they are way advanced in any UPSC exam compared to one appearing from West Bengal. Why? Are Bengalis less intelligent or below, have a lower IQ in competing in such exams? No, it's because their syllabus is entirely different. The students in many of these states who are going into national level competitions has to go through a humongous task. They have to first complete the syllabus of the curriculum of their own state prescribed, and then they have to study additional materials to be able to compete at the national level. So this is, I think, putting huge stress on the students. And for a long time, Indian education system being raised from this colonial system has been a commit and a vomiting system of education. Everyone here may have high respect for, students getting into IIT, that they go through a very difficult exam, blah, 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 blah. But if you look at what is the outcome of these huge investments that the government has made on IITs, is that produce good graduates who are doing good jobs in other countries. It's other than like one Pichai or other than one Upadhyay or other than one guy in different international multinational companies, most of them are doing good jobs, or either in India or abroad. And depending on the job market, this is undergoing fluctuation. None of them has made outstanding discoveries. None of them has received Nobel Prize till date. None of them have made an outstanding contribution even outside India or in United States or other countries where we consider that there is a lot of opportunities that are being provided. The reason is, I do not believe that these students are lame or dumb, is because in spite of this hard examination that they go through, the training in IIT similarly are same mug and committing things where they're learning and regurgitating and accumulating knowledge and information. But when it comes to applying information, when it's coming to apply your accumulative knowledge in the fields of discipline that you are specializing, I think Indian education has a serious problem. This is This is the part that we need to highlight very seriously. No matter how much we work and put efforts towards bringing out new curriculums, new syllabus, if there is so much disparity across the country, with so many different institutes, so many different universities, and so many different schools and colleges following entirely different course curriculum, we are not being able to implement, at least to some extent, a 50% standardized syllabus for the entire country. I think academically or research-oriented wise, or in the case of competing globally, we are only restricting ourselves in producing what I call is high-end clerks, who can get good jobs in a good company. But this is also a kind of a clerical job. You are developing software, that software is taken up by another company, they're selling it. It is not that individual person is making a huge significant differences. And this will not change unless this education system of the country is changed. Being said that, I do appreciate that this is a huge, massive country with so much diversity in language, ethnicity, religion. It is not going to be easy for any one government or one individual or one ministry to bring this one together. But this humongous task has to be done in 3 years, at the end of every 3 years or 4 years or 5 years or every 10 years. There needs to be these significant changes that has to be implemented at the ground level. Many of the teachers that I had an interaction during my stays in different times during pandemic, post-pandemic in India, I am very worried that the teachers at the school level do not even have the proper training to run the classrooms, and then they are overwhelmed with a huge amount of students in individual classrooms, which is beyond the capacity of a teacher to handle. And on top of that, they are not even well trained and well equipped to deal with these challenges. Go into the rural areas and you will see the vernacular teachers. Forget about English. Even those who are teaching Hindi, Gujarati, or Punjabi, or Bengali, even those vernacular languages that are being taught in the school are of very, very poor quality. Grammar, sentence construction, and all other aspects. If your vernacular language is so bad, so badly taught in the schools, you can well understand what is the condition of English in the rural Indian belt, starting from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So these needs to be changed in the front, that the teacher training process that we have in India is still the same. It's around now with the rise of the private institutes and colleges for BEd training and other kind of trainings that's happening across India, the quality has even further degraded. So you are paying money, you are getting a degree. The people who are getting teachers training are not even attending the lectures properly. They do not have the proper training to handle classroom situations, or multiple different of the classrooms has poor capacity of the languages. I do not know how they are getting into the system and getting into the job. So we must have very serious flaws even in the selection processes, because many that I have come across, I don't think can even take a a group C or a group D job. They have become high school teachers, and they're teaching subjects like mathematics, physics, chemistry, where their basic foundation is highly questionable. So, we may design new curriculum, we may talk about various educational policies, but the reality at the ground level is that the education system is completely fractured. Just don't look into St. Xavier's, St. Lawrence, Don Bosco's, or those DPS and think that this is India. That may be India, but beyond that India, there is a big, big, big Bharat, where no education is being treated and given properly. So a vast section of the students coming from the rural areas are aptly discriminated in the process of job selection or in the process of becoming a professional, whether it is Ayurveda, whether it is engineering, whether it's conventional medical, whether it's conventional general science, arts, humanities. The problem is that we are giving different grades of education at different grades of the society, or based on their economic parity, based on which areas of India they are coming from, based on how these schools are being run. And these private schools, other than the big names that I have been saying, are all, I find, are very big money-making machines that they have transferred there. How much they are helping to train the students, how much they are inculcating the ability to inquisitive minds in building, I have very much doubt, because I have not been satisfied with the level of the quality of education at the primary level, at the middle school level, at the secondary, and also at the higher secondary level of education. Students who are doing good, if you look very carefully, a vast section of them comes from very well-to-do family. They have their parents paying for extra tuitions. They used to take private tuitions. Now, all over India, there are AYUSH and these AKAS and all others institutes that have come up that have set up a parallel education industry, and they charge fabulous fees, which is not possible for people, students who are talented, who are highly capable, but do not have this financial ability to access this training. So now when we are designing this education policy and we are thinking about implementing in India, we need to think about the ground realities. Well, a vast majority of students cannot even afford education under this present circumstance. The private education is only for the social elites. So how could the nation prosper and progress at a higher level if down the level the education is so cluttered, is so mixed, it's so confused, and is so chaotic? University is only churning the final results of the school education that we are giving to our kids. Once they are coming there, they have already gone through a process where you won't be able to teach them something new. It is only these opportunities of various disciplines, the specializations that we are providing, that they are moving into, and it is an individual effort. I do not want to name the minister, but there has been a minister who recently mentioned that this big name of these IITs are not because of the professors. It is because of the very bright students that are taking courses and coming to this institute. Had there been no IIT and they have been undergoing studies in other universities or other institutes, they would have made that institute proud in the same way as we take so much pride about IITs. I mean, this is a very direct statement, not a bit much expected from at the ministerial level, but there is an irony. There is some truth behind it. It's yes, I had an interview with many sections of the IITs, whether it is Kharagpur, Powai, Roorkee and stuff. The quality of education that we boost so much above IIT is not that good that we hear about. And IITs are diluting themselves by moving into areas where they have no expertise. You will be surprised to know, I do not know whether you are aware of, IITs are now teaching biochemistry, molecular biology, biotechnology, agriculture, politics, even English and whatnot. Although this was primarily designed for training very high quality engineers for India. Now, we need to diversify, but if we diversify from an outrageous sources in a way only to have more students so that you can use that brand IIT name for giving someone an English degree from IIT, this is never going to be a Boston University. This is never going to be a Princeton University at any stage. It is only going to result in chaotic condition in the last few institutes that really had excellent name in the Western world. So, I mean, the government needs to think about that, whether they are diluting the efforts by diversifying IITs in taking general stream subjects, which could be taught in any other schools and institutes. Why should not these be centers of excellence of engineering and manufacturing, other related areas? So these questions has been raised in multiple committees while we have gone through different stages of the new education policy formulation. I still think that the formulation is pretty good, but I am not very optimistic that this will be, the government will be able to implement this very successfully in this country because of political differences and whatnot factors that I have already discussed. We are already late. I'm not going to stretch it beyond a very long period. Just with a food for thought, I would humbly request everyone, good syllabus change, curriculum, activities, new teaching methods, new techniques are all very welcome. But it is also important to see that whether these modern techniques of education that we are talking about is possible to implement in that 45 minutes of your lecture period. In a 45-minute class, by the time you came down, settle down, take the roll calls and stuff, your 10 minutes is gone. Then by the time the students settle down, you have looked into their assignments and you go to the board. Very little time is left for really doing innovative teaching at that particular point, the way we teach in our Indian universities and institutes. So how much under these circumstances, let us have to be very practical and see that within these 45 minutes cut into 35 minutes, how I could deliver the best level of education to the students so that we could inspire the next generation to become not only, a money hunting engineer or a doctor or a very, a rich lawyer from the Supreme Court, but good humans who could take this country forward. Unfortunately, I do not right now, I'm not very optimistic how this education system is running and how it is benefiting only a handful, that this is going to make a significant changes down the line, unless the government takes really serious discussion with the states and make them understand that we need to walk on a common platform. Otherwise, it's a downgrade journey for India. With so much differences in the education system, it will be very, very challenging for the country to become successful, where we need more innovations down the line. And as India is becoming an important emerging economy around the globe, India is being given the importance it should have. We need to think about overhauling our education system and make it more practical approach based on the student numbers, our education level, economic parity, our caste and creed cultures that is prevalent in various districts across the country, where students from lower caste are being discriminated from taking the education. Unless these things change, we cannot see big innovations coming out, big Nobel Prizes coming out from India, because we are killing them at the very bottom line. So unless the school education is being rehauled and changed and uniform, made to a certain extent uniform, I see that India will continue to face critical challenges in the educational sector. Thank you, and I wish you all the best. If anyone has any question, I would be happy to answer, or you can text me through Dr. Sharma. I will be able to return your answers, whatever works. Thank you.
Thank you,
for
Dr.
giving me the
Basu. Very firefighting lecture. Great firefighting lecture. Excellent. No doubt there is a problem. I thank government that they are trying to change the government policies, but it is also necessary to implement at the root level. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I would like to request Agnihotri sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Dr. Pawan Sharma ji.
Thank you.
It was really a great session today, and completely eye-opener, curtain raiser, and full of information. In the minimum word, if I try to react upon all the 5 guest speakers, I, with all my humbleness, will like to say that the lecture was lecture of Dr. Mohan Joshi was in a form of the costliest mobile. The costliest mobile. And the lecture of Dr. Gaurav was the strong battery. Along with the lecture of Dr. Anand was equipped with built-in powerful cameras. I was just limiting ourselves up to these 3 addresses. Meanwhile, came the boosting powerful lecture of Professor Ramdas ji, and I found that he is the SIM of that mobile. Without that, it's very, very difficult to proceed one. But how it will work, and how long it will work, and how it will continue its journey, for that, I would like to design Dr. Saket Kumar Sharma's presentation as the charger. This is what the whole journey is. We need all the 5 things. Without charger, what will do the single-handed mobile? What will do the SIM? What will do the cameras? And what will do the battery? So for battery, the charger is there. And for whole unit mobile, the charger is a must. What wonderfully last means the chapte, chalte chalate, Sokoji told that he attacked and he saved. He protested and he compromised. All the way he found that, well, new policy is supposed to be here, and it will be followed by Government of India and the citizen of India. But at the same time, we Indian try to avoid the changes. He also told this thing. So these things are in a form of such a good thing that our aim of the webinar, the topic of the subject, is completely fulfilled, as Dr. Ramdas ji told. And really for us, students of 1973, teachers of 1990, and it is 2022. Though we have got
Today we were students, sir.
We are students, but
today we were students.
We are the retired unit. But for us, if I stand in front of the student of say 2020, 22, 23, and the teachers teaching them passed out in 2018 and completed their post-graduation by 21, they are the new assistant professor. For them, I would like to become the student. so that I will get myself updated in the form of the ROTP, in the form of the CME. I am scared that when I go for CME lecture, whether I'm going to deliver or I'm going to receive. This is the situation. But it is always good to receive. When you receive, then only you will be in position to give. So for us, it is still learning. So thank you very much. It's a really great pleasure. Time has already 10 crossed, so we have got some very important persons like.
For last few words, I would like to request Mohan Joshi.
Yeah, exactly.
He is the opener
for the feedback, and my for
we will
my
be
simile,
troubling him at
simile
different
also. I've given a simile for all you 5 persons. So I would be obliged if you just react. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I am overwhelmed with your humbleness, sir. You're so humble. Great. And that is the actually need to be a mentor, a facilitator, and lifelong learner attitude. Salute to you, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you.
I am by virtue of Lord Shiva, right from this Corona period, I am the great learner of 2,400 gurus in these 490 webinars approximately. Really, I am grateful. I am bound to think again and again that, hey, Lord Shiva, please give me rebirth in Ayurveda. Otherwise, this knowledge will be wasted. Really, dear, in 33 years of experience of head of R&D in Imami and teacher, I was not able to learn. I am a student of Jamnagar. But what Jamnagar will do? Young persons are teaching us. Excellent, like you, expert, you are expert. I am great learner now and you are great teachers of myself. Salute to you in young generation, all. Really.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kamrajji.
We will be troubling you again and again.
I have one more request, sir. I think this Anandakati sir, as well as Joshi sir, as well as the other speakers, if they are coming regularly in our webinar, that will be really an asset for us, sir, actually.
Sir, I am very surprised. I mean, I actually, in between, somewhere long back, I had attended one such program. But after that, I lost connection. But I really am fascinated to see that these many programs are being conducted. And sir, Pavanji, it is not that you are only benefited. You are sharing the benefit to so many listeners, and you are making it available on YouTube. And YouTube is such a powerful resource these days. We tell our students to go to YouTube and learn this and come back to the class. So therefore, the feast of knowledge that is being shared through you is serving the cause of Ayurveda. We salute you also for doing this great work.
Sir, it is not only Ayurveda. Sir, it is not only Ayurveda. He is committed webinar in music therapy. So many things, so many factors.
Great.
Really, again, heartfelt thanks for inviting us and making us a part of this activity.
Sir, you have created these digital footprints and they will be lifelong.
Yeah, sure.
Pavan ji, aap mute hain.
Just to inform you, tomorrow is Pneumonia Day. So we are conducting webinar on pneumonia, the best remedy in AYUSH. Day after tomorrow is Kindness Day. So we are conducting webinar on kindness, the physician's religion. Next on 14th, Children's Day is there and Diabetes Day is there. So AYUSH for diabetic children. Diabetes and Ayurveda, both, and children, all three combined. And on 20, though I will be in train, but on that day, Universal Children Day is there. So we are celebrating both Children Day on 14th. 2 webinars. On 16th, we will be celebrating Epilepsy Day. As I will be in Bangalore on that day, I will be on Bangalore. I am going to Belagavi, Dr. Suhas Setty's seminar.
Okay, yes.
On 16th, Epilepsy Day. On 19th, AYUSH for Men Care, International Men's Day is there. On 21, stomach cancer, Stomach Cancer Awareness Day. So we are celebrating AYUSH for stomach cancer. On 23, microbial attack day is there. So we are celebrating AYUSH to combat microbial attacks. So please bless the platform whenever you have time, whenever you have topic of choice, and we will be troubling you again and again. This is our humble request.
Sure,
Please
sir.
support
You're
us.
most welcome, sir. You are
Sure,
most
sir.
welcome. We will be there
Sir,
whenever
Thank you.
you'll call,
Thank
sir.
you.
No
Thank you.
problem.